Futures back in negative territory this morning, coming off a bit of a negative showing yesterday, as well as we got some not so positive comments from the Fed coming out yesterday. We'll get the minutes from the latest Fed meeting coming up this afternoon. We had thoughts, anyways, of a little bit more positive momentum in the overall direction of the speak from the Fed. We had Lael Brainerd, Fed governor, yesterday in a speech indicating support for higher interest rates and said rapid reduction of the central bank's balance sheet could begin as soon as next month. That kicked off a bit of selling in the overall market. We saw the all three U.S. equity markets to the downside by the end of the session yesterday. Individually, Rivian shares back in positive territory this morning. Production update from them. Yeah, they're on track to meet their goals by the end of the year. We'll talk about Twitter again this morning. Elon now an active investor, according to the SEC, and Tilray out with a surprise beat as well in their latest quarterly report. It's Wednesday, April 6, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, there we go. More red numbers to look at today, unfortunately. The NASDAQ leading the way right now, about 1.5%, almost a full percent there for the S&P, the Dow 0.6 to the downside. Brazil in negative territory. You can see TSX futures just creeping into the red here in Toronto. Yeah, crude oil making moves back higher. We'll talk about both crude and natural gas in positive territory today. Energy stocks following suit. Yeah, not a good day so far for cryptocurrencies as well. Good morning, guys. Going to be an interesting one as we get the minutes from the latest Fed meeting. As I said, coming up this afternoon. I mean, not typically a market-moving event, but we'll see if there's any surprises to come on those minutes today.
Yeah, good morning. I feel like the surprise was yesterday, right? So Brainerd, I think Daly also had a few words to say about the runoff of the balance sheet, and that's what shocked the markets to the downside. So I suppose when we get the minutes and everything that was said yesterday kind of gets confirmed that they're talking aggressively about not necessarily held to a quarter point, and then starting the runoff in next month and being aggressive with the balance sheet. If that stuff comes out in the minutes, we already heard it yesterday and went down off that news. So I tend to think I'm with you. Sometimes it moves the market. It doesn't happen right away because people have to digest. You got to read it. The algos can do their part, but truth of the matter is we got to stick to what is going to be moving, and there is a little bit of earnings. I mean, Trilway is the only one on earnings, but Nat Gas is moving, so I'm looking at TEL again today. And of course, Spirit going to run into regulatory issues. That is trading down. I've offset some of that, but the long, no good on that overnight position.
Yeah, no, and couldn't do anything about that as it was halted. We switched the bull over to a bear because, yeah, Brainerd yesterday, she was, one of the more dovish participants in the Fed, and then came out and talked about running that balance sheet off and talked about how inflation was so super key and they need to get that under control. CPI's at not all-time highs, but it was 7.9 was the reading last time. If they get they could get a 9 handle coming up next, and I don't know. Hopefully that's not true. Oil and gas continues to be hot, like Neil just mentioned. Oil over 103 again today, so Oxy's going to be on the watch. And yeah, man, I mean, we're super excited. It was another great day yesterday. I had a great day. Was really happy with the results, and I think we're going to try to put some of that chip weakness to work today. We're looking at Intel short. We've got it all on the sticky note here. Intel short, AMD short. I actually like, Brendan, I like the Rivian short. I want to keep shorting these companies until it's a time to turn this around. And right now, I feel like all the high valuation names yesterday really got clapped to the downside, and it probably continues here again today with not much changing at all on the backdrop. Nothing happening in Russia. ARK is, the ARK names is what I'm looking at here to short those. We saw DraftKings yesterday, Palantir, Teladoc. I mean, the list goes on and on. UiPath, it's unlimited. Clover, all these big names, new tech names, high value, continue to get hit. So we'll look at those today as well. But yeah, a lot to talk about, and it's only 8:34, an hour till these markets open up.
New really from Rivian in that announcement after the close yesterday. 25,000 still their goal for this year, and they said they're on track for that. Worth noting as well, guys, the next CPI reading we'll get next Tuesday, so April 12th will be the next kind of benchmark for inflation. Before we go any further, let's bring in Ms. Fee. Good morning.
Good morning, team. Happy Trading Wednesday to you all. I wish you a wonderful, profitable day. Please like this video and let's get it started, Brandon.
Yeah, let's jump right into what you need to know this morning. A little bit of deal making we'll touch on throughout the morning here. A couple of those moving around. Wanted to hit this though. First, there it is. Rivian saying, yeah, they're on track to meet their production goal of a staggering 25,000. When you throw that up against what Tesla said on the weekend, not terribly impressive overall for Rivian, but as you said, Sean, maybe a non-event here.
Wow, I mean, congratulations, Rivian. You're meeting the goal that you've already cut in half. Rivian, the 20. Imagine they didn't hit the 25,000. I mean, that's kind of like what I'm talking about here. And it was just they were already expected to hit more than 50,000. They came out a couple weeks ago and cut that guidance down to 25. And now they're like, yeah. Don't worry, we are going to hit our 25. So I just couldn't imagine if they had said anything differently than that. I think they got about 1,200 deliveries or so going, and then like you mentioned there, last week it was for the quarter was 310,000 for Tesla. But we already know that story, man. I mean, Tesla, you can't compare Tesla to Rivian. But what we can do is continue to short, in my opinion. A good move yesterday for, was it yesterday to the downside? Yeah. So a big move. And this is what we talked about yesterday with some of these valuation stocks. You know, you don't make any money and now interest rates are going up. So the cost of capital is going up. So investors don't want to wait. And I don't blame them. I mean, why would you wait? I think it was till 2025 or something like that they were projected to turn a profit. That's not going to work, man. I mean, you're going to have inflation. We already talked about that number being 7-8%. And then you get cost of capital going up, interest rates going to 2.8%. You're not going to wait in a stock for 3 years to make something happen. So yesterday, big move off the open straight to the downside. I'd like take today as good news. So that's good. I want to short. I want to short this name into 45 bucks right here. This is that $45 level that we hit back on the 28th. We ripped up to 56. What a gift that was to be able to short up there. And then boom, we'll see if it tests this level. Look, if it takes down 44, I'll be short. But then if it takes out 45, then I have to think about why are we even up here 3, 4, 5% today in Rivian, and then I'm wrong. So right now I'm sitting here waiting to get short 44, around 44, then into 45, and then maybe I'll squeeze it up to 46, something like that. But you know, I was involved. I don't remember. I think it must have been one of these days. I think it was this day we went to 56, where we were shorting Rivian like crazy, and then it just took off against us. We wound up having a $4 short on the way back in, but this squeezed us enough that we got out, and we wound up losing that day. And I just don't want the same thing to happen. So I don't want to dig in too much, but if Rivian gets back up to like $45, $46, then I hope to put on a decent position. And then, you know, I guess I wrote down on the sticky note that the top might be near 45. But now that I look at this thing, if the futures do make a move up, we can retest this area, 46, 47. So I think we'll use 46 as the top, but I will be dug into this name, and it could be a nasty loser if it does rip up. I don't believe in it, and I feel like you can get better prices than this. I look at Rivian. We were already down to 33 bucks, and I don't see anything's changed really. So I think we go back down there. So I'm going to be a shorter of Rivian today.
Yeah, I can't see the other way around it. They're like, what's changed? And the other thing too is it's the only stock that's going to be up right now. So if you're looking for something that has a chance to pop and give you short into a level, and there was a conversation about that in the pre-market with some of the guys here. I like the same levels, and maybe we'll go over it as it gets into some of these prices. But 44.5 to 45, I'll take 3 shots at this. That's the first one. The second one's going to be off of yesterday's highs. I think if it gets, not highs, I guess, yeah, it is yesterday's highs really, but you're also coinciding with the week lows at 45.5. They're into 46.5, that dollar range, probably trickier. If we get to that price, it's squeezing essentially. So you do want to wait for it to slow down in that range before getting in. And if it breaks higher than that, you got to be looking essentially at the top from 2 days ago, and that's going to be at that 48 level. But it's a short till it's not, and the not hasn't happened yet.
I mentioned a few deals to discuss this morning, guys. Here we go. Tuffin, TUFN, software maker, getting take private deal, $1.35 billion from Turn River Capital. Tuffin up decent, 40+% premium on that, I think it was. Dave & Buster's picking up Main Event from Ardent Leisure Group for $835 million. Play down on that. And then obviously what we were discussing late in the day yesterday, JetBlue coming in to throw a bid at Spirit Airline, obviously. who was already in agreement, or there was a deal in place, at least with Frontier, if you remember. So, I mean, it caught a lot of people, like that headline said, caught a lot of people by surprise. But I also noticed this morning, guys, there was a lot of people writing about, what would be the benefit here of those two combining. So I know we discussed this late in the day yesterday. Neil, you unfortunately got stuck in that one at the end of the day as well. Yeah,
it ran. I wish it would show the trades from yesterday, because when it opened back up, which for the record, I don't think it made any sense after the first halt that it opened up. I really don't see the point. Like, you had one article out talking about the deal from the New York Times. The stock halted on volatility, and then before you had like the confirmations come through, you open the stock up, and then it trades up to 27 and a half there. I was long at 26.87. Was able to get some out on the north side of 27. Thank goodness we got most of it all out. And then they halted at news pending. It's like, well, the story's already out there, and you're just looking for the confirmation for the confirmations. Actually, there you go. They actually finally popped up. Sometimes you pull the stock up and it doesn't populate fast enough. But it's just one of those situations where, okay, well then why didn't they just allow this to be disseminated fully? Open the stock up in the aftermarket or after hours or in the morning the next day, and then everyone has all the same information. But that couple of minutes doesn't make sense. There's going to be regulatory issues, but the thing about the airlines is it's always about, okay, failures and then consolidations. It's the cycle, man. This is what always happens. You have a few mega carriers right now that basically control everything in the U.S., or at least 3/4 of everything in the U.S., so it would make sense to some degree that a couple of smaller ones would get together. Like, if you're not in Big Four, then, trying to consolidate to be able to grow, to be able to compete does make some sense. But there's already an issue with the Frontier bid, and this one as well, even though it's vastly superior at $33 in cash. Is it even going to happen? Would the regulators allow it to happen? And even if it does, like, how long would it take for it to get settled? There's so many question marks. You can see how it's being priced in. And trading at $26 here, that's as if it's not going to have any chance of going through at 33. Like, forget about the ATVI spread of 10%. Like, that's trading at a discount of almost 20.
Yeah, it would make them the 5th largest, JetBlue and Spirit emerging, the 5th largest airline there in the U.S. I just want to give a big shout out here. I was just answering a question here on Twitter. I don't know if you guys can go full screen or not, just to show this bottom part, or actually it doesn't matter. I can just sort of zoom this up here a little bit, but there it is. And I want to say thank you. And this is what I'm doing, man. If you send me a question on Twitter, I'll try to answer it. This is a direct message from Chris. What's up, Chris? And he said, Sean, spelled my name wrong. That's fine. I hope you're doing well. And this is the thing, right? Like, if you guys ask us questions, hopefully we'll be able to get to them and answer them. But this is a good one. If you had 2 tips to remember that truly altered your trading for the better, thanks, he loves Trader TV family. You guys are an inspiration. Thank you so much, Chris. And I just answered him just now, 8:41. So even as we're on the show, I'm trying to get to you guys here. Great question. I said back testing and patience is really what changed everything. There's always a trade. You just need to find one that works and then strike when the iron's hot. So I feel like that's something that all of us can sort of learn a little bit from, not just from us, but from your own trading. And that is, and I'm hopefully going to talk to these guys behind us here today as well, but is that, you need to be patient, you need to wait for your trade, and you need to know what trade you're looking for. And I think that if you're going to, and thank you again, Chris, great question there on Twitter, at Trader TV Sean, but if you're patient and you're back testing and you understand what you're looking for, whether or not you're trading those buyouts, whether or not you're trading the close, the futures, things like that, I think you can always find the niche that you do best. And you can even tell, Neil and I have different styles of trading, as does Brendan, as does Prad, so on and so forth, as does Miss V. She trades one stock. So, there's
not
things.
Anymore.
Oh, no, not anymore. Primarily one stock. And that's just it, right? So that's why I just want to get over that before we go over to some stocks. Some of these names that we're talking about won't fit your style. So just make sure that, you're looking at that and then understanding. And then that's the main point of Trader TV Live too, is to understand how we're trading, why we're into these trades, and what opportunities exist. So thank you for the great question, Chris, and I look to answer more.
I love that patience idea, and it's an ongoing thing. It's not necessarily just in the beginning. It's ongoing. The market will always and forever test your patience. Alibaba down here for the second day in a row. Chinese stocks across the board pretty weak. DD, there was a note on possible EV partnership. So DD doing all kinds of volume here, but notable weakness for Alibaba, guys. A couple of price target cuts. Jefferies one of them, Citigroup the other.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything that bounced really strongly there recently is essentially right back to where we were before. BOBA in particular, as my 15 decides it wants to be a little bit slower this morning. Okay, have a coffee, these charts. But Alibaba in particular, I'm pulling this one up and I'm glad you brought it to our attention. I've been trading Pinduoduo recently, but there's a lot of stocks that have this profile. You can see the channel at the top here at 108. It's pretty clean, this level. It's not a ton of volume, this pre-market, but you get below that and you do have a bit of a gap fill down to, between 100 and 105. So like it's a wide range, but there's room to that bottom from here on a 108 break. And obviously it's been a fantastic run. It's worth putting in perspective. Like remember, we got down to the 70s. So it's been a pretty harsh pullback, over 10% from the top, the recent top, but it hasn't even come back that much relative to how strong it was moving off of that 70 level. So I look at that 108 channel and say, look, if that's gonna break on a day like today, then that's one I want to be involved in. Pinduoduo, which I've been trading primarily, that had the long breakout from that 47 level. There just isn't anything equivalent. I would be going back to this because it's been a good one, but it doesn't have any sort of equivalent level to break down, and then you're all of a sudden into new uncharted territories. Like that would be down at 40. It's already below this 47. So in this case, if you were shorting Pinduoduo, it would be, I use the term fade, and that means as the stock goes up toward 47, you're shorting it in front of 47 as a level. But Alibaba, it's more, it breaks 108, and it's now in uncharted territory. You're breaking down at 108 and trying to short it at that price. So two stocks going in similar directions, but I think two different approaches today.
I want to give a big shout out to everybody and thank you so much for the kind words on the chat about the AMD short. We talked about possibly swinging that short, and it looks like some of you did, and now you're reaping said benefits of that because AMD down another 3% today. We talked about swinging this name short yesterday in the afternoon, and I said, talked about the weakness that's been there in AMD, and today you're getting that through 103, so a good trade so far for anybody on that one. And yeah, man, we are loving life right now because we are also in Tilray, Brendo, as Tilray just broke. This is another name on the sticky note right now. So we take this breakout of Tilray. Don't have any idea if this is going to work, but Tilray swang to a profit there and on a better EPS beat. That's for sure. They were expecting, I think, minus 5 or 6. They got 7 or 8 plus right there. So we are now long 61 on this break right there. And we talked about this again. And just bear with me here. I'll show you. It's on our watch list, tradertv.live. And there it is. We'll take some out at 68. Right here, Tilray, BDPS plus the backdrop right now of the bill. Let's try along here if we break 760. So there it is right now. We're in this position already. And we're smoking here. So up through 68. Let's see if we take down 69. This is a good trade for me here. We have an upsized position. It's 3 million shares, so we feel comfortable with the volume here. But right now, Tilray making some moves to the upside right now. We're in this name, Brendan. So let's go Tilray.
Yeah, nice move. 10% already. 848 for Tilray on a beat. Some of the stay-at-home stocks that we were discussing throughout the pandemic to the downside as well as mentioning Chinese stocks a little bit weak today. There's Zoom. I can flip over, show you Netflix. We can even talk, Peloton, all kind of looking the same here, about that 2 to 2.5%. There was a note from, I'll double check. There was a note from an analyst though that I noted higher costs. They were just basically saying all of these are kind of in the same group in the sense that higher costs going forward, not going to be good for that stay-at-home group that came out of the pandemic.
No, certainly not. And Peloton, it's got, oh goodness. I was supposed to bring the chart up 5 minutes earlier, but it's, if you think about the deal chatter that happened with Peloton, right? It got all the way, it got all the way almost to that 50 area. And even recently, it's had some serious trouble at that 30. There's no obvious price range here that I think, you're breaking down. 25 is psychological. That's it. It's 30 and 25. And those are the levels that I'm going to be watching, obviously. But the truth of the matter is with these guys, is at some point they get cheap enough. And I think we've probably said this before that if there was deal chatter before, why would there still not be at a depressed price? If someone had an interest in this, it's starting to get pretty cheap for that. And maybe it has to break something like a 25. I feel like the shelf yesterday was your really good opportunity. We break 25 and there's nothing really clean about it. So if I was trading it today, I'd really want to be trading it off of 27 to 28 in particular. I think if you're shorting it, maybe you're doing it right here into 25 with a 26 stop, but it's not doing a ton of volume pre-market. I don't really see the catalyst, but this thing drops back into the low 20s and it gets very interesting. Like I think it's one of those where it gets appealing to sort of sit in it, and then your catalyst isn't necessarily a market bounce. And you should never buy something hoping for a deal, but if the price gets to a solid level and it makes sense, your upside there becomes a lot better than what you think the market can return, especially if you consider that it's already come down enough that your downside risk isn't as big at that point. Because, I mean, deal spreads are like 40, 50% these days.
Tilray right now, let's go. We're long 760. It's breaking new highs right now, 776. And again, if you're not following the sticky note, I don't know what you're doing, because we had this trade again here, breaking 760. It's about as easy as you can get right there, taking out the high. And as I put on the sticky note, pun intended right there. Right now, 15, 16, 17 cents in the money. And there it is, taking some more out at 79, 78, 80s going under the upside right now for Tilray. Price target for this thing, I hate looking at this and saying like where we think this could go. I'm just happy taking it out as we go to the upside right now. So we are up out of right now 40% of this move, but there goes Tilray, man, already cashing in on this up to 80. That's 20 cents clean for you guys right there. So just like the Maple Leafs, although they lost, they were winning 5-1 yesterday and they wound up losing 7-6 in overtime. Still, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews on fire. I think the Leafs showing that they can compete, as is Tilray right now, showing that they can compete in this market. So upside there for Tilray. A nice win to start the day here, guys.
Yeah, nice deal for them as well with Whole Foods for one of their subsidiaries. Upgrades and downgrades for today. DocuSign, speaking of those stay-at-home type names, to the upside today. Paychecks, Cosmos Energy, Lear Corporation. There's Alibaba. We mentioned the Chinese weakness, Citigroup on here. And both, guys, JetBlue and Spirit to the downside.
Yeah, both catching downgrades, of course they are. Obviously bad for JetBlue. Spirit, that's going to be an absolute mess, that tie-up, and you'll probably see news coming through there, but it's going to take a long time to resolve that. DocuSign is an interesting one because it's very similar to so many of these names. You got the top end of the range, we've broken out, and then it couldn't reject. It rejected 112 multiple times. You're now right back below. Oddly enough, it's very close to 108 like Baba, but 106.5. And you can sort of see the clean line, what was support, that turns now possibly into resistance and then warmed down to 100. I get it, they got the upgrade, but you're seeing the exact opposite on the chart here where you're breaking down out of this channel. And given the selling that we saw yesterday, if you have a red day, that's the kind of thing that, you know, you put those levels in and then you trade off of them. So DocuSign will be on the radar. I like Bob a little bit better because it tends to move a little bit more and it's taken out a level. And Square is another one that's done something pretty similar that looks like it can be a nice little breakdown as well.
Tilray just took out 80 right now, guys. Next offer, 84. I don't know if Intel was on that list or not, but it was initiated with Stifel there for a downside move. So we'll see here what Intel's going to do today. They're out of Russia now, but that's no surprise. I mean, I don't hold that against anybody right now. But you could see here just in the weakness in the chip names, and then in Intel's right at this bottom that we've been at just 2 days ago. I mean, a lot of these stocks look very, very similar. Let's go, man. Am I going to get that 84? It looks like I am right there on Tilray. A nice couple percentage point move there for us on that one. But I like this break right here of this bottom. It's already ready to go. It's already in the system right now for me. So if we take down this 47.35, another sticky note name right here for me, and that is Intel to the downside, looking to break lower. And then if we did get any sort of an action to the top, I don't know, you still have 48. I mean, let's see what happens. There's 84 right there on Tilray. But, you know, if these chip names start to go upside today, I'd be surprised. But it's going to be based on what the market does. And right now, the market's not looking so healthy. And like I said yesterday, Brainerd throws cold water on some of that rally. And now the NASDAQ is now negative for the month. So not good, man. And let's see what happens. But hey, as long as you're flying with Tilray today, all is good. We're in one time here at 760, again, with a decent position. So out. We're trying to be as patient as we are. Now we have 40% left as we've taken out 87s, baby, right now. Nice little day here for TLRY. And this party is just getting started, Brendo.
Just noting auto parts, Morgan Stanley out cutting price targets on auto parts suppliers. So PRTS just popping up. I want to mention this. We've seen multiple times in the past whenever we get an upweight or a change, GOGO today going from, this is actually on Friday, I believe, but going to the S&P Small Cap 600 index. Not a lot of volume here, but typically these types of deals end up being good moves.
Yeah, it's weird. We've ignored them before, and it was like VIR, and then it did no pre-market volume, and the next thing you know, it's up another 10% after the open. So I'm going to look at GOGO today. I'm on the bid in case it pulls back into 20 even. But if you don't get a breakdown, like when it gaps up, if it manages to hold 21 and you get a tight consolidation, I might just take the break. But without volume, I'm not putting a stop order in for a break at 855, right? Like it's one thing. Like Tilray, Sean's trading Tilray, which has, I want to check the volume, 4 million shares worth of volume. So when you take a breakout trade on something that's moving, it's definitely a different story. If you take a break here on this thing with 50,000 shares, it's going to have a spread when it gets to that price. You're going to pay the top. There's going to be no one behind that move, potentially no one behind that move, and then it's just too risky. So I'd rather be buying it in front of levels that there were some price action earlier, and then if there's positive news, people will be buying it in front of that. So I'm on the bid, just like I should have been on VIR when they got added to the 600, and then we'll see what happens at the open for GOGO. But I'm writing things off because of lack of pre-market volume has been a mistake. So when the market opens up, I want to make sure that I'm on the bid or at least watching GOGO.
All right, there it is. We just took another out at 96 there on Tilray, and we'll tweet that out one more time to talk about stocks to watch and things like that as we continue to move to the upside here with Tilray. So watch out for that $8 break, and that's about it for me right now on some of these names. We're looking at Rivian, Tilray, Oxy, which we'll get to with oil very soon, AMD, and then the Intel short. But right now, man, just loving life with Tilray. And like Neil said, you can trade as many shares as you want right now. It's 4 million, and we're long at 760 off the sticky note. So a nice little move to the upside there. We have gotten out, man. Now we're out of... we have 3 quarters left, so we're out of 75% of this trade as we went all the way up to $8 there. And now, now we just wait for that big monster home run. If you do get 840, 850, something like that, I believe like a break of 8, we might get to 820, but we'll see. That's why we're out now of that 75%. So obviously this is going to turn out to be a decent one for us. Tilray still trying to moon here, and again, it's not even 9 o'clock. Let's wait to see what happens when the markets do open up for a lot of different accounts. Some trading starts happening at 9. Big time sells coming through again today. You've seen Ford get hit recently with GM and with all the auto parts, all the automakers, sorry, not parts. AMC, which is a funny one because you're down to $20 here on AMC, so that's probably something to watch here today. Palantir with a sell. Anyways, big sells. The only real buys we have in here, for some reason, Skills is a buy. We'll find out about that, but there's Oxy down here in Vale, so I feel like we're going to talk about Nat Gas and whatnot coming through. I don't even know what NAT is, but that's right there as we go. So yeah, it should be a good day here. We're already smoking here with Tilray.
I was just noting some of the other cannabis names also in positive territory here. CGC following suit with Tilray. Remember we had this move in all of these yesterday afternoon, so CGC up 3 1/4. The CLVR as well, 4 1/4, made a nice move late in the day yesterday, smaller one, but all kinds of liquidity on CLVR to note. So we'll keep cannabis names in the back pocket today to see if we can get some strength. Let's bring in Arun, get a check of the overall market here. We'll get a better understanding of what to know here, Arun. I mean, we were down 1%, trying to hold, though, around this 4,200.
Yeah, and, you know, the trend since the European Open has been to the downside, so it kind of makes sense that we're kind of getting a small little bounce back around that support area, which was marked at 44.75. We got slightly underneath, but 44.75 still should hold as a support level. If we lose it, I think shorts, for me at least, then you get the green light for the shorts. For now, respect the strength that could be down here and wait to see what the market brings. If we break it before the close, before the open, then I'd be open to shorts on a pop. So a couple things you got to do here. Wait for the 44.75 to break. If you get that move underneath, then you got to wait for a move back up into the 4,500s to justify the risk on the short side. So there's a lot to do there on that. If we just get a bounce straight up, now we've played with this 44.75 to 44.80 area a couple times, right? So if that were to continue back towards 4,500, again, the longs could still be on the table in this area. There's a decent support zone down here. So if we get a decent buy strength run to the upside without breaking that 44.75 with any volume, we've gone underneath, but I'm going to give it some flexibility. If we can get some more strength here and continue the upside, the longs could still be on the table. So that's available. 45.30 would be the upside resistance level. That's going to be the overnight high. It seems like it's going to be close to 45.30, the overnight high. So if we get above or close to that, there's going to be some resistance there. If we get above that, now you have support going back up towards 45.65, which was the bounce after yesterday's little trap run north of the highs into the 85. So we got through 85, came back underneath, bounced a little bit, and then we failed for the rest of the day. That 45.65 is going to be the top end level. So 45.65, then you have 45.30, and then we're bouncing off this 44.75, which is going to be the big one. I think that's going to dictate how this day goes, because if we get through there, the trade opens up to the downside, because I really don't have any levels for a while. Actually, I'm not even sure where the next level is. The next level I've got is 4,300. So it's a ways down. There's a lot of space. So we'll see if this market can actually hold this level or not. But it is going to be very indicative of how this day is going to go after we get that open.
Yeah, pretty impressive move back to the upside, obviously. So a long way potentially to go if we do start breaking back to the downside. Keep in mind, this afternoon Fed minutes coming, so we'll talk about that. Join us at 2 o'clock. We'll discuss that. Let's get into what else you need to know this morning. Under 30 minutes to go here before we get the market open. That's the link to the watch list. Miss V will help you out in the chat if you do need that. A number of interesting setups here this morning. Twitter will discuss off the bat. To the downside, but ever so slightly in the pre-market here. We are trying to get back higher after a couple of pretty impressive days, guys. The SEC filing, the disclosure filing that Elon made about this position in Twitter changed to, Elon is now an active investor versus passive.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to. Like, it's just, obviously, that's just like sort of like crossing your, what do they call it again? It's like crossing your T's and dotting the I's, that kind of a thing. Yeah, that's right. That's the line. That's pretty much all that is. We already know the details. So like the important thing, I think, is the reaction that we had. We got to that 55, and the daily was a pretty big level. You've got the lower high that got put in at 51. It was a double top. And then you had the afternoon about the same price. Came in today and just looked at, this is your 50 yesterday where it ran from. You broke 50. I did scalp a 50 short really early into 49.5, and I'm just essentially reloading that same trade. If it were to break 49, there's room back into 47 here, and this could just be a simple case of, okay, well, we got Fed coming. We had the sell-off yesterday, so the name which had moved the most is going to start to give some back. Like, try to remember, like, this was, a $30 stock, and man, like, so apparently Elon had he's been buying since January and had half his position by March, right? So, really, that long can be anywhere in the mid-30s. So very, very profitable. I don't think he's getting out of it, but who knows? Who knows? But either way, anybody else that was in this from the 30s, 35s, 40s, like, it's a hefty profit to be able to take. And if you weren't taking the last couple of days, now that it's broken below 50, it just seems like a logical place that there'd be some trailing stops for people out there. So I want to play it to the south side. It's a red day today. If we jailbreak to the upside, sure. Could we get back through that 51 level? Yeah, possibly. But today I like that short. We've also rejected the 200 if that does matter. But 50, you could have some support back at 47.5. That was a previous high when we're back here in November.
Yeah, I mean, I already think that he eventually takes this thing out. So, I mean, I think you got to be buying Twitter. But with the weakness in the stock the last couple of days here, it was just really yesterday. We had that high tick. I mean, we were long yesterday here at 51 and got out at 55. And then we danced with it again off the open and then left it alone all day, which is kind of interesting because these bottoms here at 50 got broken now today, like Neil mentioned. So now you're through 50 right here. But we were holding like 50, 60, 50, 80 yesterday pretty good. So I kind of think that we can get back up there. Down 2.5% seems a little bit much. If Elon's long, let's just say 35, something like that, you're not too far away from that. Obviously, Twitter's been really disappointing in their execution, in their monetization, everything like that. So, I mean, I can't sit here and say that I like the stock because I don't. But if you do believe that, the wagon is circling. They're circling the wagon. They're circling the wagon around Twitter, I believe, right now. So I think there's still more upside in this name. You know, I believe we will test this 56 again at some point, and it might be sooner rather than later. All you need to hear is that he's upped his stake just a little bit more, and then this thing is gonzo. So I would be very, very cautious of any short. But if you're just trading it like we do in the middle of the day, then I think it's fine. You play the momentum. The reason why I'm sort of like wishy-washy on what to do today is that I don't really see anything. I mean, this bottom of 49.50, let's just see what gets tested. What I really like is this break right here of 50.60. So if we get going, I like a 50.60 break, which was the bottom yesterday. So that's something that I'm looking at. I'd rather not look short on this name, but you know, you do have these bottoms that we were made, and we were messing with the short right here 2 days ago, and that was short at 50.20, and then we wound up getting out 49.80s and things like that. So these levels seem to be pretty strong to me, and that's where we are right now, 49.60, 49.70. So for me, it's not a short and it's a long. Through 50.60, I'm going to put that trade in. Probably not right now because I feel like it could still break.
That's
But
hilarious. My stop is at 61.
Yeah, exactly. So
that happened yesterday.
I don't know. Yeah. What, we had the opposite things there?
No, my stop was your entry.
Oh, yeah, and that makes sense, right? So we're reading the charts, and right here, I mean, I think anybody can sort of see this level right here, which is why we picked it out. So yesterday's bottom, to me, is a break through the top. So I'm going to be looking, I'm not going to short that. I'm already, part of the reason too is that I already have my shorts in play. I have Rivian, I have Intel, and I have AMD. Those are the names that I'm going to be looking at short. So Twitter's not going to be one of those. And I'm going to be looking long through 50, 60, and maybe I'll put the order in now, whatever. If it hits in the next 25 minutes, it should be okay. 2.5 million shares of volume. The imbalance locator quickly here doesn't have any names on this that we normally look at with a decent amount of size. I mean, NIO's here, but that stock, we could talk about that Chinese name. I know Neil's already got Alibaba. But 100,000 shares. Like, I mean, it's funny, there's not much interest here today in this market. So we're going to have to be very, very specific in what names we trade. And I'm looking at none of these. AMC is going to be interesting to me when we test that 20 bucks again.
All right, let's continue along. Rivian up 2.3% right now. If you remember yesterday, we sold off sharply all day long into this production update that came after market yesterday, and that was a bit of a non-event. They came out and said, yep, still good for 25,000 for this year. They then made 2,500 vehicles in Q1 and delivered 1,227 cars, to be exact, guys, for Rivian.
Yeah, well, we kind of went over this, and sort of the numbers aren't particularly impressive, and it's not even just comparing it to Tesla, which is not a fair comparison to make in the first place. If we should get that out of the way, but it's not even particularly impressive compared to like peers in China. And look, it's just, I know it's up to 2% today, but it was so weak in yesterday's trade that if we get a down day today, I'm having a hard time thinking it's going to have a bid. So 44.5. First level, 46 to 47, second yesterday's high, and if it gets to 48, those are 3 price bands that I want to be fading into, but I do want to have a stop out each time. Like if it breaks 44.50, I just remember how it squeezed the last time it set up like this, and if you got the top, it was great. I just don't want to be sort of stuck in getting into it all the way up to like a 47 or 48. But we get up $1, and I'll be into the short on Rivian. We had to pay for the privilege like we do every single day for locates on Rivian. They're relatively cheap. But always make sure we lock them in just in case. Most things are free to borrow at Day Trade the World, but Rivian's one of those that even, despite the volume, we got to pay a couple of pennies.
Yeah, I don't know why. No, it's less. I think it's less.
Oh, no, you're right.
It's
than
less. A penny, maybe. Maybe it's 1 penny exactly. But okay, so here's yesterday's move. We talked about that earlier on today. This is a name that I'm definitely going to be short and not afraid of the short at all. But you do have to understand that levels could break to the upside. And someone even mentioned on my sticky note about switching the bias up and on Rivian, so going short and then possibly switching to long. I don't want to switch to long, but I am going to notice that, this 46 yesterday, which was the dropping spot right here, 46 to the downside all the way to 42 yesterday. That's a 10% move. We talked about some of these names getting hit yesterday, the high valuation names, I should say, not value stocks, but that wouldn't be Rivian. So there's 46 right there. My short starts in here, man, 44, and then we'll just be shorting this thing all the way up. So that's what I'm looking at, and if Rivian gives me that short, I'm going to consider it a gift, and we'll see where we go from there. But I do like the Rivian short, and I have to be wrong at somewhere, and so it's probably going to be just north of 46 somewhere. But Ms. V, what's up?
Hey guys, we already received 2 super chats from Isa Mohammed and Gary Mills, while Karman Faisal joined our membership. Thank you so much, guys, for your support. Have a wonderful day. And team, I ask everyone to support the community and like this video. Now, let's continue with Brandon.
Yeah, let's continue on. Let's go to the cannabis space. Tilray beat on their quarterly report. They also announced this deal with their Manitoba Harvest, which is their hemp subsidiary, announced a deal with Whole Foods. So some hemp products coming to Whole Foods in the U.S. Through that Manitoba Harvest. But let's talk cannabis, guys, and Tilray.
Yeah, let's talk it right now. So, look, we're already out of 3/4 of this trade. I even stated it right here on my tweet when we talked. Oh, first of all, I don't know if Taco Eater's here, but a shout out to my wife. We threw down yesterday a soft shell here, some tacos, so the avocado, the cheese, the peppers, the tomatoes, the ground beef, everything like that. So, and the kids liked it, so that's a win right there. So shout out to Taco Eater and my lovely wife, Marissa. Thank you so much for throwing that down. But, what I was getting at here was that what we talked about here on this trade for Tilray was right here. It's like, look, man, I don't love this long term, as you know, but momentum is momentum. So that's what we took early. We took a first little piece out there at 70, and you can sort of see what's happened since then. We got out at 95, and at that point I said I only had 3/4 out of 3/4, only a quarter left of this trade. Should have got out on another little bump back up to 785. So for me, if we can get anything near this 785 to $8 out again here, we'll do that. I am now sitting at 83. If we get a little pop back up, look, it's an EPS beat. It's nice. I like it on the backdrop of the bill. We know it's going to go to Senate where it's going to fail, but at the same time, at least they're talking about it. And whenever that happens, you do get some smoke in these names. So a nice move upside there. We saw that last week with some increased volume coming once that bill was introduced and then eventually passed. And then on the passing of the bill, just came to the downside, which was to be expected. But then now today you get good earnings. So, hey, look. Maybe they don't need the U.S. after all. I mean, they do to get going, but if they could be a viable company in here, Tilray. You talked about other names like CGC starting to make moves up. I don't know. I didn't even look at this yet. So up 2.5%. So they don't get the bump because, again, of earnings, but maybe there is something there with CGC. Both names, I don't want to trade CGC, like we said, until we break this $9 mark, which was that high on the big time news. But for me, Tilray, I like it. We're in this name, and I feel like today could be a good Tilray day. However, I don't want to be holding this thing for very long. I almost feel like even though we're in this right here, this could still come back in, man, and then take down this 740 and then make new lows down here. So I'm not loving this trade. I'm actually debating getting out a piece right now. I don't know if it's going to take this back again, but for right now, Tilray will take out one more piece when we're done talking. But I'm not super excited about it. If it takes 8, we can get going again. But I'm pretty happy with the outs on this name so far.
Yeah, I think Sean's got all the levels for Tilray, and I was looking at both that and Sundial for Faith, but I think Tilray might be it. It was 860. If it breaks 8, it was 860 that I definitely liked top side on Tilray. But I'm going to go quickly to BBAI. This is on our watch list, but it just broke the day's high a couple of minutes ago and then tried to get through 16 even. There was a wick top at 16, so it got to 16.19, immediately failed that breakout. You can see there's your high. It tries to break 16, can't do it, then does a wick top, consolidates for a brief second there in the low 80s, shorted through that 70s, stop high of the day, 1-to-1s at the 20s to 30s. We took some out there, some out in front of 15, and then the previous top at 1480 will be the next out, and then we see if we can hold on for dear life there. But BBAI, low floater, so wanted it to go a little bit parabolic, fail a break, and then short it on the way back to the downside. Going crazy, done 3 million shares, but don't always let the amount of shares traded trick you into thinking it's super liquid, right? Like this thing can run into some trouble. And you've seen me in Tel, and I talked about this one in the chat. There was some strength in Nat Gas. This is what Nat Gas just did. I have a stop at 585 on Tel, but Nat Gas was screaming to the upside, still up 4%, but it just pulled back into support. If that support gets broken, Tel could get broken as well. So if you're patient, you could be waiting on this to see if it gets back to the upside. I have my stop in Tel, but just watching Nat Gas every single moment.
Let's go on to energy stocks here. Back to the downside right now for crude oil. I was just looking. We were up here early on, going back a couple days or so, back around that 104 level. It was up more than a full percent, now kind of falling apart. But energy stocks were pretty active here as far as volume in the pre-market, both on the nat gas side and on the crude oil side.
We have Oxy. First of all, we'll do a little belly dance. All I have to do apparently is talk about Tilray. And then I don't know who just came in and bought this thing, but yeah, hell yeah. Up to 84 again, 83 again here on Tilray. We did get some 75s. Then we just took out an 80, and now we're waiting, like we said, here at 84, which was the top. And then if we take out the high from there, then we're rocking and rolling with Tilray, but I was not expecting that move. So there it is, man. I don't know who came in and bought that, but if it was you guys, thank you for that. But thank your own accounts at some point. There we go, Intel into the short right now. Okay, Oxy right now up. Again, this is on here. Stifle with an upgrade here. They like it. They're saying, I mean, I like the bottom of 55 here on Oxy. So Tilray still starting to make some moves at BBAI. I guess moving around as I hear some wows in the background. Okay, so this bottom of 55 is what we're looking at here for Oxy. The problem is I don't normally trade these names, so it's going to be a little bit difficult when I'm going to be watching the NASDAQ and I should be watching oil. So I may cancel this trade, but this bottom at 55 just looks pretty sweet, man. So, you know, if we can get a test into there and then break down through, the very, very bottom is 54.50, I guess. So if you can take that out, then I think we just get out of our long and let this thing dip down. I really did mark down some levels that I liked for the long here in case it does happen. If you go back to the 1 minute, I don't mind this little long right here. And that's what we put on the sticky note, a breakthrough 57.50. So if you look at the 1 minute chart, it's right into here. Yesterday's sort of consolidation, we had a big open yesterday to 60, came back in, stopped a little bit here at 57.50. So I'd like to see that break. And if that can break, then I think we get another upside move, maybe back into here into 58.50, something like that. So I like Oxy here today, but I am watching out for that 54.75 bottom. I did have a bid right here at 55.60, but now that I can see oil starting to head to the downside now, maybe we'll cancel that and go a little closer to 55. But we do have a new trade alert for you, and that's going to be Intel, another name on the sticky note that we have breaking the low right here, despite the NASDAQ not really moving. So I think we're going to have a decent winner here for Intel on the downside. First target going to be 47, and then we'll look lower than that. But Intel, I like it, and I'm going to put my Oxy bid a little bit lower because I have to watch oil.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Oxy too. I just like the support level. I'm in front of it, and if it comes down, we'll pick up that long position. I think for sure. I'm a little bit different. I'm glad you mentioned Intel because I probably should talk about Micron. And the reason we go over setups and the trades that we like and the reasons for it is so that it actually makes sense. And then when you look at the chart, you can sort of find some of these types of ideas if you like them on your own. And when we talk about a shelf break, like Baba had a shelf break at 108, that's why I'm in it, giving it $1 and change. And then Micron is already broken 74. So it's already downside in that clear zone to the low of the day in the chip weakness, but I like it because it's already gone through. I want to be selling back into that level. So you can see 74 here, 75 yesterday's top. Yesterday afternoon's top. Yesterday's high is way higher than that because it got crushed. But I want to be selling on the way back up, back into that 74, 75 area on Micron because it's broken this big shelf of support that it's had for the last almost month. I mean, it's 3 weeks that it's had that support, and it's now gone.
Let's go to the airlines. Talk Save, Spirit, and JBLU. Big move yesterday, late in the day, 5.5% to the downside this morning. If you're with us for the closing show, though, we saw this move happen. Remember, this per share number is way up here, 33. Obviously, a lot to get through before we even remotely get close to that, but pretty active already here, guys, for Save. Nothing new, if you're wondering, as far as this deal is concerned. The bid, $3.6 billion, but it's the frontier angle that everyone is kind of scratching their heads on.
Yeah, and I think a couple of people asked in the chat, like, what are you doing with it, or what was your plan for Save? And I said it was weak. I wasn't waiting until the open. I was just going to sell and say forget about it. Now, the way it works in our system, quickly for Day Trade the World, is if you have an overnight position, what happens is you then put it back into the system in your summary the next day in the morning. So it'll actually come in as if it was a new trade. That's just because you're supposed to be day trading. It doesn't sit there overnight the whole time. But I was selling it pretty much every chance I got, and then finally, it's now broken the shelf. I think if it gets back, look, if Spirit wants to trade all the way back to where it was before the news came at 23, that can be a buy. That makes some sense to me down there, but they're not receiving this very well. And even if there's a deal, it's just going to have all kinds of regulatory hurdles. And I think that's going to be your trouble. It's trying to hold 25 even. It's going to be volatile enough that there might be some trades here. That's why it's worth going over. 25 would be that first level. I think for sure 23. For sure I want to be buying this thing at $23 if it gets that far downside. But that's a long way from here. As for the overnight, when that happens to you, you just take your lumps. You can't try to force that into a trade that you wanted. No, I didn't want to hold it overnight. So you come in and it's out of the money 50 cents. I'm just taking the 50-cent hit. It's that simple. You can try to work that position, and it never really works out that well. For every time it works for you, it's just you didn't mean to have the trade. You don't have a reason to get in. You don't have an out. So I come in. I just sold it the first chance that I got.
Yeah, I like the color of the airline. I talked about that yesterday with my son really liking yellow and telling me that next time we fly, we have to fly Spirit. But look, I didn't even really look at the stock today. I'll look at it when the market slows down a bit. I'm more interested in some of the names that we have on the watch list, although Spirit's on the watch list, but on the sticky note, and some of these names that are moving. Someone said, oh my God, Neil's in 7 positions. What's going on? Hey, man, when the market is moving, that's something that we're going to look at. And sometimes your level, someone said 7. I don't know how many there is. No. But I don't know if it's wrong or right, but 5 or 6. I'm only at 2 right now. But yeah, so Spirit's not going to really be on my radar there, Brendan, with only now 9 minutes to go. So yeah, good names, good stocks. For me, I'm not really in the airlines. I like the Jets ETF. JETS, Jets, giving you 10% allocation to each of those airlines. Not those ones, but the bigger, I guess those ones as well. The bigger ones all allocated their Jets is how I'd fly with those things.
A few other things of note quickly, guys, before we get to the open here. Piper Sandler just out with a note on cloud software names. So cutting price targets across the board for Twilio, there's Unity on here, GLBE plan, so a heads up on some of the cloud names today. Roku getting a price target cut there from Berenberg, I should say. And this one as well, SYK, just popping up on a volume scanner. Spruce Point just out with a short report on SYK.
Spruce Point
you know how
Capital.
those go.
All right. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know why I'm still on Tilray here. We don't need to be on Tilray. That's interesting regarding Twilio there and some of these cloud names. I really like Twilio. I think it's a good name. But again, in this environment, this name was what, $300 or $400, I believe. Anyways, yeah, 400 right there, 380 back in the summer, and absolutely clapped. Looks like its high was 420. No, yeah, there it is, 500. Yeah, this is what I thought this name was flying. I was been lucky enough to be in this name, and a shout out to Big Pete because I was buying this, and he was wondering why I was doing that at $30, man. It went to 460 right there. So this is a great name. I believe anyways in the cloud space, definitely working a lot of big customers. I like Twilio, but at the same time, man, maybe this is not the right environment. We've seen it go down to 120. They're calling the short on this name. Probably makes sense. You have that 180 high right there on Twilio, so just be careful if you're in some of these cloud names. That's not obviously a great report there. I don't know, though. Intel, the NASDAQ, it doesn't look great on here, but we are above the 50 period and kind of trending up here, still making higher lows as we go here, bang, bang, and then right there again. We'll see if we test that again right there. So I don't know. I am short now, Intel. As you can see, it only went down in the money about 10 cents for us, but that's obviously not going to get taken. We will look at 47. If that happens, our first take will be at 47.15. I do have a bid out for that as well, but maybe the NASDAQ wants to go back up today. Yesterday was a big flush day for them, the NASDAQ. And if you look here, the triple Qs, we can call that up quickly here just to have a look at what kind of damage was done yesterday. And it gave back hopefully this loads, gave back all of April, which was right up here where we opened yesterday, and then April opened here. So a couple good days for them, then back in. We're still hovering near that 50 period. This is why I'm feeling like with Brainerd yesterday, with the 2-year, touching, what was 2.3? Just over 2 there. Yeah, it seems like it was a record high. I'll have to double check that. It's not a record high, but where it's going on the 10. But you could see this down to 355. We still have a lot more to go on the Qs. If you thought that the bear move was still in. So that's why I'm sort of leaning short today. I feel like yesterday the momentum big time changed there. We had a lot of pressure here on the shorts, and now they're starting to get relieved. So let's see what happens if there's going to be some buying back in today. We're ready for that. Today might be a day that we have to flip up our thoughts, but right now we're going to look short AMD, short Rivian, and short Intel. So some big high flyers there.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do on days like this. And look, I'll show you guys pretty quickly. Someone said, like, is it still valid in BOBA? Yes. It's a higher time frame trade off of this break at 108. So if it's got room down to like 98 to 105, like that's a lot of room to the downside if we continue this gap fill. So we're going to give it some room in the other direction, and that's the way to play it. Like, it's the same thing with Twitter. Like, if I'm going to be trying to get anywhere from $3 to $8 on a trade, well, then risking 25 cents doesn't make a ton of sense. The same thing with Twitter. If I think it has room a couple of bucks down, my stop is like 60 to 70 cents out. 60 to 70 cents out. So again, not really looking for a scalp trade there, but more of a directional style trade. If we do break back up, like if you take 110 here, then you fail to break and reestablish the level, and sometimes you've got to be able to flip directions, but it's still within that same channel. So I still think pretty valid. One other name I think in the small caps that we haven't addressed yet, Brennan's got it.
Yeah, I want to mention Mullen as well, guys. Hindenburg just out with a short report on Mullen, M-U-L-N. MOBQ, M-O-B-Q, tiny float on this one, so be aware. This thing went up this morning. I was watching it in the pre-market. Went up on very, very low liquidity, so it didn't require a lot of volume to push this thing all the way to 280 and 3. If you go to a daily chart, 280 and 3, very, very key levels for MOBQ. Have a tight leash, though, if you're going to be in this, because there's no reason why this can't just pop up and halt right at the open. So MOBQ, another one moving.
All right, just so we don't get too carried away there, Mullen, yeah, where's that big buyer or whatever that guy said there on Mullen? I guess maybe, and we'll have to read that short report, but it's probably about that, when the CEO came out and started to open up his mouth a little bit there. I don't know, that's the problem when you take stocks like Mullen. You kind of take the good with the bad, and when it pumps up there on talk, that's great, and then it comes back down in. So we'll watch Mullen. I just want to note there's that 50-60 level on Twitter. It didn't go up there. That's just a bad wick. So we'll see if it does take that out. We're not in yet into Twitter, but that's going to be my level right there into that bottom 50-60. So just if you're getting excited, let's check out the NASDAQ imbalances here. Did anything get updated? That BRQS, it's a couple days in a row there. Mullen actually coming with a buy. So it's not really getting hit too much right now. I mean, it's down 10%. Could be a lot worse. We'd tick down to 228 there. So watch out for Mullen. Someone's buying this off the open. There's the Mullen bid. So Ford with the sell. That seems like a good value down there at 15. We'll look at that a little bit more for our longer term account. There's Twitter with a sell, AMC with a sell. We talked about that nearing 20 bucks, coming in even faster. Actually, no, sorry, I saw that 2030, but it's at 50 by 54 right now, so it did get up to 70. Watch out for AMC down there at 20. Should look at that again for myself. But other than that, yeah, everything pretty weak. Normally, we don't even look at these things unless you're greater than 500,000. I like to see some millions on here. But I guess Ford, CCL, Mullen, Twitter, Palantir's at the top. Apple even here as a sell. That's not good news when you see Apple there as a sell. Normally you don't get that, but Apple looking to take down 172 right now as well. So hey, only 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes now before the market opens. So Apple with that sell imbalance, let's see if that ticks down. You're down already more than the market here at 1.7% for AAPL. Let's get those 1,000 likes going, guys. Hit the like if you can. We're about to rock this market.
And let's remember, too, like the market is down, but we've actually been consolidating off the low here. Kind of hard to see, but I don't want to blow the chart up too much here because I want to show you Mullen. But consolidating off the bottom, that 1.5%. So that's the thing. You don't have to rush into position. If you've got your levels, you've got your trades, you sort of settle down without getting too excited. But Mullen has caught a heck of a bid. It did get down to 230. That's a real print, and it's right back up to pre-market highs. Now, obviously, some of these things can start squeezing, and maybe they're already out of the short. I have no idea. But I'm going to try the fade off the high of the day. I probably have to pay for shares, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. As the open is only a minute away, this is one that kind of came in last second. Like, we didn't really see Mullen until you got that report. It flushed down. It's now coming back another 10%. I should check to make sure. Yeah, we don't have free short. It's going to have to
we
be
don't?
paper.
Okay. Yeah, with only a minute to go here, it's going to be a good one. Miss V, I believe, will be on the bell today, so that's good, but she's wearing black, so nah. Yesterday, she was wearing green, though. Yesterday, I believe it was that green dress, and the market got absolutely destroyed, so hopefully today, black will be the right color for this market, as long as she's not wearing red. I don't think Ms. V owns anything red, to be honest with you. So I think that's a good sign for us. But okay, Intel, we're looking at that. We're looking at AMD just to get started here. We're looking at Oxy. I've got Rivian on my mind for a short as well. That could come into play, but a little bit further away from that one. We're already into Intel, so that's really going to be the one that I'm looking at here as we go. But Intel on the short, Tilray dancing around. Those are the kind of names I'm looking at along with Oxy.
Yeah, and Mullen, a late one to the list there. The top is 270 on Mullen. I just got in. If it blows the top out, fair enough. But that kind of a move when it's already been in a bit of a downtrend. I just took 57 to the short side. Miss V, the countdown is on. Hopefully black is the new green, and we'll see. But 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it.
It's a little bit of a
that was like the
that was like a little morbid ring there. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't bode anything for the stock market here. But let's see what happens now. The market is starting to go back up to the upside right here, and that's always the risk when you take a position pre-market. But let's go here. Intel on the short, Tilray moving around, and I don't have anything else hitting right now.
Yeah, like I said, got into Mullen. BABA stopped out at that 108. 109. If it reestablishes a level, I can jump back into it. We did have the dollar stop to make sure we got out. The curl, so
here we
top
go.
To the top on Mullen, now starting to curl off of this 270 level. I'll try to add to that position as well. Twitter did just test higher. I think the market's trying to bounce a little bit here. That's what I'm noticing, right? So Twitter's testing higher. Not a ton of velocity, but you are seeing a bit of a recovery. Oddly enough, that TEL is starting to bounce. I got to check back in on Nat Gas, which is still down. And then BBAI, that was that crazy, whoops, it's on the New York. That was that crazy sort of low float name that made that high at 16.
Wow.
It did get back through 15. It looks like it could be on the flush, but it's at VWAP now. If it's going to bounce, it's probably right here.
Wow, this market is really ripping here, and AMD is going the other way for this. Twitter trying to take that 50-60 level. We'll see if that happens. This is a good opportunity here to watch out to see what is happening. We are going upside. Again, we don't have a full position, obviously, on Intel as we take it in the pre-market, but if you look at AMD here, the market is screaming, not screaming, but it was a nice move up, and AMD going down. So, yeah, man, we got to look for that short here on AMD. You have that 104.60 high. I really have bigger fish to fry right now with Intel, but if this market keeps going up, we may get into some of these shorts that we were looking for with AMD. The first time has to be a break above 105 before we start shorting that one. But anyways, AMD starting to go back to the upside. It's a name that I'm trying to get short. So we could go short against this 104.60 right now, but I'm out of the money now, 20 cents on Intel. So I don't know if I want to go short the chip names while I have that to deal with. But here goes Tilray right back up to the upside. Go ahead, Neil.
No, I was going to say, like, you're watching some of the chip names go up. Micron's not even budging, so I'm trying to fade into it. And it's just not even moving. Square on the other end, Block. I know it's Block. It's not Square. Whoops. Why is this not? I'm trying to flip names here while I'm watching a Micron. It's not moving, so I'm going to have to on my quote board. But Square went screaming into the downside. I got into position. It's about $1 in the money here, and it looks like, you know, once we broke that shelf, this is now going to freeze, so that's going to be a bit of pain in the butt. And we got the fill in front of that 135, and you're seeing it immediately reject. And if you remember 135, that was previous support. It then broke down. So much like Micron, like you're breaking the support level and trying to get into the new channel, and that came in quickly. But Micron is stupid. Like when AMD started going up, I was like, oh my God, I'm all over the offer of Micron. And then I looked at it and it hadn't moved an ounce. So I might have missed an opportunity to get into that one. But Square, quick little in and out there as the market is starting to reverse. I got shaken on the first try on BABA, but let's keep in mind, it actually hasn't really broken this range. So as much as it's given up that dollar, like I wasn't intending on scalping it, but hey, it did put in that top wick. If it's going to make that retest of the level, it's now failed to break. It's still going to be valid, and this is the thing. And you're going to see me, get in position. Okay, so you're going to see me get back into position on Alibaba here. And sometimes you have that stop out, but then what it now has done is given you a failed breakout through the top and then a rejection. So that's another entry for a short position. I just happen to also like the level, and I've already traded it once. So sometimes you've got to be willing to take the hit and jump back into the trade if it's still valid. So BOVESPA's still valid. The stop goes to the high of the day at this point, and there's still room to that 98 to 105 level. Probably going to bounce off 100. Let's be realistic about it, but I'm back in the short on BABA.
Yeah, we did the same thing here on AMD. We got short, at 40 there and got out on that 60 break. And now I'm going to reshort this name. Maybe the chips are strong today, and I'm willing to accept that. So, that's why we won't be averaging in. Like I said, now I switched my price up to 105.75 or so on AMD here. We just ticked up to 105.20. It is very, very possible that we get more strength into this name as Miss V delivering the coffee. Wow, thank you so much.
We can finally.
But go ahead. Yeah, I'm now short. AMD working. I assume yours.
Yeah, this is what sometimes you got to do it. Like the first buck, if we're 1 to 1, 8 to 9, when it takes them out at 107, but we want to make sure we're holding out for 5s, and then for 100 even. Like that kind of a move is what we're looking for. I have to get to BBAI. I know it halted. I got a bunch on, and when something is working, it's like that's not the least. It's the least of your concerns. So it's halted to the downside. I still have some of it left from 1573. That capitulation, usually I'd have been covering in front of 14, but if it's going to flush like that and halt, I'll just allow it to reopen and maybe take it out at 12 to 12.5. That one absolutely dying. Twitter as well. Starting to come back down. I did miss the curl. It never hit that stop out. Some out in front of that low of the day, that 1 to 1. If we're giving it to 60s, and I want to take some out in front of that 49, but much like Alibaba, a bit of a higher time frame style trade. We scalped it already once in this range, and we did it again. Now I'm looking for 48s. Now I'm looking for 47s back into this downside. So the market looked like it was going to break and then put a quick reversal, but we haven't taken the low of the day yet. The momentum still has yet to come through, but all the shorts sort of paying off right now. Mullen as well to the short side. It's doing one of these.
What else did we want short? Jeez.
Yeah, it's cool. Like Mullen, it made that break. It tried to get through the high of the day. Remember, it had the short seller report.
Bang.
It hasn't broken 250 yet. There is a bid there, so I want to get some shares out of Mullen in front of 250 and then see if we can't let it ride. There's about 300,000 shares on the bid at 250. So I'm going to take some out in front of that, then 240s, then 230s, every 10 cents.
There it is, revenge dish best served cold in your face, AMD. Finally, man, we just took a nice win there. We just took 65 cents on the short for AMD. So, I mean, it's not, we'll have to see, but, that was a 40-cent hit on the way up. We reloaded the short, and now we go to the downside with no expectations now for AMD on that downside move. I mean, if we could take down 103, that's the bottom there. I'm just going to make sure, because yesterday I had some bids out there that I didn't want, so we don't have that anymore. Intel, which I thought would be weak, is not. We got an average price there of 40, so we took some out when it came right back into 40 there. But yeah, this name, and again, with this market coming to the downside, I am very surprised that Intel is holding out high side right now. So probably some work needs to be done on this name. I don't know about averaging into this. The 20 period is not really giving me anything. Obviously, this 48 is pretty ominous to me right here. So if we're wrong and it ticks 48, then we can get out of Intel. I'm fine with that one. It looks like it's going to be stronger now than AMD. So, we can be wrong on that one. I don't know if we are yet. So I feel like we got to average into this name. Right now, Intel's just dancing to the high side. So there are buyers for this. Noticing that the high there was 65. That's good to get short more. Oh no, I put a short in the 70s here. So yeah, let's wait for that then. Why not? I put it there. So we'll take another short in the 70s for for Intel right now. But other than that, man, look at Rivian maybe I'll take more short.
Get into Rivian?
No, I didn't, and that's the thing that sucks. Like, we called this short. Like, I was like, it's the #1 name on my sticky note today.
Bye-bye.
But again, like, I try to be more patient with these, and we talked about that. I talked about patience being key, and yeah, I thought the market wanted to rip a little bit there, and that we would be able to get some of these shorts. But honestly, on Rivian, I was waiting at 43.90. Like, it went to 75. That should have been good enough, man, and we should have hit that to the short side. But now Rivian taking those levels down. So now, if you want to, jaunt back up to the upside, which I don't know if it does or not, I'm going to be here trying to short Rivian into 43 now. So let's sort of layer some offers here: 42.50, 42.80, something like that, and take a Rivian short if we get back up another buck. But we definitely missed that move, Mr. Wickens.
A little one moving here. ADN Technologies, guys, up about 50% at the high there, just coming off a little bit. New deal with Hyundai Motor Company for this one, ADN on the NASDAQ.
So Square just broke 130 to the downside. It went about $3.50 in the money. Actually, no, it went $4 in the money. I'm sitting in front of 128. I'll pull back to 15 minutes so you can kind of see here. That's this low, going all the way back to the 25th, guys, at about 128. It looks like we're screaming into that level. Alibaba starting to, well, not starting to work. Alibaba continuing to fall as well. It got to that 107 that we mentioned. I think there's room. We talk about 4s and 5s, and then maybe down even to 100. On Alibaba as we start screaming into the downside here. BBAI just reopened about 2 seconds ago, or a couple of seconds ago, right below that 1380. Pretty much a flat open, but it's still falling down. Support was at 1260 to 1280. That's where I want to try to cover it. So maybe get out in front of 13 even just to cover this trade. It halted to the downside. I'm not sure how much further this wants to go because there was a ton of support down around that 1260 area. So getting out in front of 13 is going to make some sense here for me. Why am I not just paying the spread? There we go. I'm all out of BBAI. We're just left with Square Short, Twitter back to flat, Mullen working, and then Alibaba. No longs ended up holding up. Tellurian with that fall in Nat Gas, that broke the 585, unfortunately.
We're trying to have some of these diamond hands with Intel. We did take that average. Unfortunately, I was waiting at 77, but I got impatient and took 70s. That's pretty sad because now you're seeing that move's coming in right now. Eli Lilly up to 300. Yeah, that's a cash money trade, man. That was one of the only trades that we did put on in the last. Up? Yeah, up $300 right now. Is that what you said, Eli Lilly? Yeah.
Is it up?
Yeah, it's up to 300 right now. We'll check that in a second. Intel and AMD. So AMD, I don't know, man. We like the short here, but we can be proven wrong, and I'm fine with being proved wrong. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know. I was debating into this short. Maybe the short's not coming at all today. If we take down this 106, then maybe it goes into a long. So I'm going to sort of transfer over here some of my strategies. As just watch out here. It's took a little long to cancel that order there. So I don't know what's going on with AMD. But right now, 106. If we take that out, then we're reversing into the long. I'm a short into 106 for AMD. If it takes it out, then I'm reversing into the long. Unfortunately, we haven't been into too many trades yet today. Intel is just that's really on my mind as we're holding that name as a short. So Intel and AMD, but again, 105.50 or so, we'll go short and then we'll see what happens at 106. But I am willing to hold this against me a little bit now. DraftKings down another 5% today. Yuck. Uber down 5%.
I'm going to be sick about GoGo.
Go ahead, yeah.
Every time, it was like the last time there was something added to the S&P 600, it ended up being good despite being zero pre-market volume. And that's what happened in GoGo today. I said I'd look at after the open, I'd wait around and see if there was a chance for a breakout trade, and it gave it to you right at 9:30, but it's come and gone. So that kind of is what it is. That's why we put these on the watch list and go over them, but big time missed opportunity on GoGo, and that's a bit of a frustrating one. I'm still looking at Micron and kind of wondering, it's kind of sitting in this range. So when the market comes down, I'm going to cancel those short the pop orders because the market's starting to scream to the downside. And if the range, it's still valid on the 15-minute, but waiting for it to get to 74 isn't going to make as much sense. So as it tries to come up here through the pre-market highs, I'm just going to get into position off of, not pre-market highs, the opening range high, which is 73.5. And that way, if the market continues to flush, well, it's given this trade like 4 times. I might as well be getting into it when I want the short at these levels on Micron.
Okay, weed names, let's go. Tilray comes right back in, man. We're firing off some hot dogs right now as we reload the long at 755 there. I marketed it in. I didn't want to wait. I was going to be like, hey, man, maybe we can get a little bit lower, but no, it does touch that 750, and there's the reload right there. So it's a cannon kind of a trade here for us on Tilray as it is moving back up to the upside. Now our long is 54 right there. We did cash them out. Let's see, here we go. Let's see how far this one wants to go. TLRY right now. Unfortunately, now it's coming back down. Let's see if we can get some 62s out. No, we cannot. Can we get some 61s? I hate chasing this because, damn it. Now it rips back to the upside. There it goes. We got 61s there finally. Then we got 62s. Okay, now 63s. Now 64s. Good trade here for us on Tilray. Let's see if we can get back up to highs. My out, guys, 750 break. So, hey, if we're going to be long 54s now and we're taking 4 cents worth of risk, we should start to cash some out at 10. That's a 2-to-1 ratio right there. As right now, AMD, Mamma mia, AMD right now falling downside right now, $1.10 in the money on advanced micro devices. We called that as a swing short. Brendan, give us another idea.
Some of the NFT names starting to go, guys. TKAT just popped up on decent volume apparently. ESPN getting into NFTs along with Tom Brady. So some of these just popping up.
They're all into NFTs.
E-braid.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think that's crazy news at this particular point. Micron's starting to roll over. Square is still on the block, still on the bid at this 129. It can't seem to break it, but you've only just taken out the low on the NASDAQ and the ES following suit. So when you got the shorts that are working, this is more a hold on to your butts. And, you've got the direction of the trades here and then wait for it to come to you. But the long, there's no longs that I like. I didn't go over TEL. Remember I showed you Nat Gas was just churning to the downside? It's stabilized, but TEL couldn't hold that floor. And when you have a multi-day level like that, I'm not holding through it. Like it breaks it, I'm going to be out every single time. Twitter is the interesting one because it's right here at 49.5, which is essentially once you do it one time wrong, it's like it's
the worst.
I know, so I end up doing this for you guys. It just can't seem to get through like that low of the day. We've tested it a couple of times here on Twitter and been able to scalp some out, but you're not really seeing it break down off that level. That's with the futures starting to come down. So it's the only short that's working a little bit, but not a lot. And I think in the event that the market is screaming down here, which it kind of looks like it's trying to do, you want to be in something which is showing a lot of weakness and have confidence in that as opposed to the one that, while it's working, it's the one of concern.
You want to talk about confidence right now, AMD. We're pretty confident on this play, man. And the only thing is we're waiting for Intel to go. But AMD right now $1.50 in the money on the short call. So that's, we're pretty happy about that one. What's up, Ron? Okay, Dinesh talking here. Yeah, I want to watch Facebook and Microsoft for sure. So those are two names that we will try to get into. Well, we can just get into it. We don't have to worry about it. But right now I have dug into Intel. So this is a name right now that I have no idea why this is starting to go upside. But I kind of understand why. We've talked about this. Intel being more of a, a yield play, something that's, like a Dow name. It's more steady, more stable than an AMD. Doesn't have, the growth prospects the same way. So as AMD gets hit to the downside, it does make sense. I know Neil's talked about this as well. It does make sense that Intel can move sort of in opposite directions there. But with that being said, we just bounced off 103. Am I being too greedy here, guys? Not taking. We're short at 104.70, and we just bounced clean off 103, which was yesterday's bottom. So if I think the NASDAQ is going to continue to go to the downside, I feel like I could hold this name. It might wind up burning me, but there goes Tilray right now. We're talking about getting burned on Tilray. No, we are not. A nice move to the upside here for Tilray. We just took a 54. There we go. We got 74s out there a little bit as well. So nice 20-cent win on Tilray, making that money back, man. It looks like it's just funny because I don't normally trade a Intel. There it is, reloaded again on this name. So, okay, we'll do it one more time. Average price now 55, which is rate a little bit higher than this 50-period moving average. So we didn't trade it well, but we're trading it. So let's see what happens here with Intel. We haven't taken a hit on it yet, but we may have to do that. And again, I'm going to change up my mind. I've already put this order in. A take of 48 to the upside on Intel, then we're dead wrong. So if it takes out 48, man, it will be a decent-sized hit for me. But we're going to be into Intel here. I just can't believe it. Goldman Sachs at 52-week lows. Banks hitting lows right now, man. Yeah. Banks sucked right now in this environment.
Well, when that's the top of the yield curve, yeah.
That kind of screwed everything up on the banks. We can check out, go ahead, but I was going to check out other.
But I got trailed out of Square. Remember we had that target just around that 128 in the higher time frame. Like you had this bottom here, what's 127 and change, but really the bulk of the volume at 28. There was a couple of failed breaks at 29, and then it just started to check up. So that was the range we're playing off of. It was a 35. Not necessarily the breakdown, but it was at 35 level into 128. So in and out of Square. I have yet to take anything out of Micron just yet. I'm on the bid now for the first time in front of there we go. We just got some out there at 72.75. And then we're playing for this, to maybe get back down into the 69 to 70 range. So get some out in front of on the 73 break, looking for 72, 71, and 70 on the way down here in Micron as the shorts. They're still coming in. The market is looking weak. NASDAQ now down over 2%. Brendo?
Lyft, guys, just popping up on a volume spike here, down 4%, basically at day lows. But you can see big buy volume there came in. Apparently, Benzinga reporting that DoorDash could have some interest in Lyft.
All right, you might have seen me hit the weed name there as Tilray just makes a nice move back up to the upside there. through 790 again. And again, like I said, man, you know, you don't have to love these names, but you have to love price action, and that's what we trade here. So that's what I'm doing. And then there's Tilray, my biggest winner today easily. Well, my biggest winner is going to be AMD, but we did take that hit early. So all we've done is cash out on Tilray. Here it goes, taking 8. We are lighter now. We only have 30% of this trade initially. We did get most of it out as we approach VWAP and the 50 period. And now it's a runner to the upside here, taking out $8 right now goes Tilray. So we'll see about that one. The market is cranking lower though right now, as you guys can see now down that. Geez, I feel like sick to my stomach right here on some of these moves, but what can we do? Nothing. The market is making this move down, and I'm pretty happy to say that right now, although pigs get slaughtered, I really feel like we should be able to hold this on AMD. This is now $1.50 in the money. The real thing that's bothering me, though, is the fact that Intel is saying, hold my beer, Mr. Katina, because we are not going to the downside right now. So well, I kind of want to hold this.
Micron's starting to go.
Yeah, but I just feel like Intel's, you know this already,
yeah.
You talk about it. They're in a little bit of a different basket, so I don't know, I may give this up, but the problem is, and I'll tell you this, and you guys already know what the problem is that when I give this up and it tanks down, I won't be able to live with myself for the next 30 seconds. So we'll see what happens here. Intel, I am debating getting some out here. We're only like, I'm talking like this is the end of the world. I'm out 10 cents on Intel right now. But again, we do have shares. It's been an average in position, so I like to see this one work out for us. But I am getting a little anxious and might take a piece out right here.
Well, I was sort of getting at, like, Micron just got to the low of the day, and the market's still going. At some point, like, if it gets weak enough, even a strong name is going to start following the market. I think that's sort of what I was trying to say. I'm not saying that Intel has to come down from here. It's just more, if we break these lows and some of these other names get dragged down and start hitting, like, you know, like 3-4%, if that were to happen, I can't see an environment where Intel's going to hold up there. Like I said, I got out of, and look, it'll end up being wrong getting out of say. If it could have waited, held it all the way down to 24.50 on a 26.80 overnight long, instead of losing 50 cents, hold it $2 against me, and then now be getting out flat. I would never do that, but it would have worked out here. But I don't really see much of a trade. I think if it had been along at 23, I'd have been all over it, but 25 was a weak level, and so much more was happening. I decided not to trade it. Alibaba is starting to level off a bit. I'll show you here. Like Baba, we got the stop out, and then that's a failed break every single time. So you make a top wick on your stop. It's going to be a reentry, but on the higher time frame, it's a reentry at the same price. It got first level to 107. Now you're seeing it consolidate. Market makes another leg down. I think it's just stair-stepping, so I'm not really bidding it yet. I think there's room to 105. Twitter's a similar story, but stronger, I'd say. You know, it got to the low of the day. It's going to try to retest this 50 here. If it can't curl off of 50 even, Twitter's a name that turns into a reversal because it's got relative strength. It didn't break the low of the day with any conviction, whereas Alibaba did. It got $1 down. So this can be reversed. I think you're already going for a long at that 50-60. But given that kind of relative strength, I think it can be a reversal. GameStop and AMC have both run. So if you're looking for something that's strong, I guess it's the meme names. And thank you guys in the chat for pointing it out because they weren't on the radar at all. And GameStop goes green, now up $8 from the bottom. And they're the only things that I see are actually running.
Yeah, someone was saying that to me as well, or on the chat, sorry, not to me, but saying, yeah, AMC as well. Big time movement to the upside. Look, we left AMD to die, and it didn't die. So we're going to go here, 103.20, if we can get that bid. It is a possible reload situation right now for them, so I think we'll probably look to reload AMD up here at these levels. So let's just do that right now into the 70s. We'll see if we can get a short, put on the reload. We are up to that 50 period, and then I want to be wrong on a break like up here, 104.25 or so. Which could come in right now. So we'll put on another position here for that, near, I guess, 104 flat. And then that's where I'm just going to put my stop order in right now to get out. If we take out VWAP and then up here, take out that wick, 104.25, then we're going to get out of AMD. But there it is. We did have to put a reload on right there. And our last reload price was, where did we just get filled there? Hold on a second just to tell you guys. Yeah, right here, 73. So we just got another offer there at 70. So now we'll see where AMD goes. 104.25 is my out, but I have to put that stop order in because that may happen sooner rather than later. And the reason is, man, I just don't want to be short both semis here as the only positions I have on. Tilray's banging through $8, so hell yeah on that one. We'll hit the slap shot there. But for right now, I have AMD and Intel on my mind, and looking for more, man. Twitter did not take out that 50-60, so we're gonna have to go over and have a look at Twitter again.
Still going, yeah, it's trying to get there. Like, don't get me wrong, like it's pretty strong going into that level. It just can't seem to get there. AMC just made a bit of a right turn at 21.50. That's sort of
21.
Like, yeah, 21.50. I thought maybe it would be getting to 22 on that move, but not. There's another thing that made a big move there. Well, relatively. Which was in the money, that Mullen trade. Well, it still is, but it got to 250, tried a couple of times to break, and then put in this buy on decent volume back into the high of the day. So you have like, and we always talk about this with short sell reports, you know they're already in, and there's gonna be some profit taking on these usually. So it's trying that for the second time here, and if it gets through the high, I just wanna be out of this one. I'm not reversing Mullen long, not on the back of that report. I don't think it's like a Twitter in that regard, but this is a pretty solid test of Mullen. If it rolls over one more time, I may take one more shot at it to the short side, but Mullen showing some signs of strength. Maybe it's just the memes that want to go at this point. Micron, which it still is working, but again, bouncing off the low of the day. So that follow through on some of these names in the shorts that have been working, not really there. Like you're not getting those second level breaks. You're not getting that absolute capitulation. I'm pretty glad that we got out of Square for that regard, but not because of what happened after. So it's a weird thing. Like the only thing that took out the low was the thing that we got out of. So the market made a bit of a base, like Square just continued to fall, and everything else is sort of holding those bottoms. Still working, and all these shorts are still valid at these prices, but yeah, it's like, of course I got out of block, and then that drops another $1.50.
And yeah, we don't have too much to complain about right now because, yeah, our AMD cash money right now as, yeah, that stock not going up, going down right now, right back to that low here for AMD. And yeah, buddy, there's that reloaded action right there for you as we reload AMD, and right there, boom, we just took it. And I mean, I'm going to, like I said, hopefully talk to some of these traders behind us later on today. But look at that trade. We reloaded that. You got to believe in your stocks, man. That's 103.80. We just reloaded AMD, and then we just took it out at that day low again, 103.26. We still have a piece on, man. We still have half of this on, so it's not like it's super celebration. And then we'll do a big time celebration right now, and we'll throw around some hot dogs because if you're noticing now, look at Tilray, man. We waited for that name, and we talk about patience being key. I can't be any more patient than that. Wait for this. Hammer it. Takes out the day's high in the pre-market. Boom. We take out $8 right up there. Then it comes back in. Patience is key. We wait for it to make that bottom of 750. It shows us the bottom, and we're like, okay, if you're going to show it to us, then we'll take it. And right there, boom. And the thing about it is, this trade literally, guys, was 5 cents worth of risk. We were getting out if it takes down 50, okay? It's now 55 cents in the money. 10-1 right there. Now, we don't have our full position on, but we will take another piece out. We're actually pretty lucky to hold about 60% of this all the way to the upside. We did cash out when we got near 8, and now we'll just hold very, very small piece. Now we have 20% left of that position, and we'll hold it now for that upside move. Intel trying to come back in a little bit here. I'm going to sit on the bid, man, and take an L on Intel. Sometimes you got to do that, but it's going to suck to do it because it probably falls. But again, we didn't get a reload back here at 90. We're waiting at 95. And yeah, this chip space is a little difficult for me today. We should have just stayed with AMD, which has been cash, but Intel not so much.
Yeah, I'm going to go to SPFM, but I'll show you. Like, Micron is cracking finally, so it's taken out the low of the day. It is really starting to fall and accelerate to the downside. So obviously that one is kind of holding up. But again, they're a bit different, like Micron, AMD, but different from the Intels of the world Deshaun mentioned. SPFM just bounced off 5. Remember the stock crazy moves yesterday, $2 all the way up to like 6.5. 6.5 was holding all afternoon. Well, $5 is still support on the stock today. And watching it hold pretty nicely as it rounds to the upside. I just think it's a short if it gets to that 6.25 to 650 range, the same way it was all day yesterday. That's going to be the fate. I have paid for locates. I doubt they'll be free for most people, but if you don't have if you don't have free shorts, we do pay for them here, and I've already grabbed them. $5, if that goes, there is a huge gap to be filled, but it's held like an absolute champion. So I want to short the pops if I can. Alibaba also starting to come back in, and I'm sort of saying we are just at the point where you're sort of managing these positions. This is it now trying to take out the low. So Micron just took out the bottom. BABA's going to make another run at the low of the day here. If it bounces again, it'll be worth taking some off in front of this 107 just to relieve that pressure. You don't want this squeezing up and then you've been sort of staring this in the face. 2-3 times we test those lows and it can't go. You got to take some off when the futures are kind of making a bit of a base here. 14.5 on the NASDAQ is bouncing. The ES trying to bounce off is 44.5 as well. So you do have a little bit of support coming in potentially in the futures. Potentially.
Yeah. So that's, again, we took that out at that bottom. We were waiting for another bottom print to come through here, but we still are looking for short into AMD just in case it does do another dance. I'm still sitting here to try to get more shares short, but it doesn't look like it wanted to give it to me there as now we retrace right back down. Come on, Intel. Here we go. This is what dreams are made of. Just joking. Hopefully it comes down to the downside there. We just got a 71 bid. So we are, willing to let Intel work a little bit. We were offering 93s. We didn't get those. And again, I'm not trying to average into oblivion here at all on this name. Let's look at another one. Let's go over to Facebook. Facebook's been strong, in my opinion, the last 3 weeks. I mean, it's not my opinion, ball don't lie, but today down that 3% and going lower. So this is not going to be a name that I'm going to look to pick up here on the long side as it continues to march lower. As there goes there goes AMD. Yes, sir. Bang again right now. We'll do this for Brendan right there because there comes AMD right down to the lows again, man. That reload pretty cash. Now we'll see if it takes it down. Now we have a small piece left. So we have one piece left of this trade. Let's see if it continues to make it down. We held, right? That's about 25% left. So 25.50, 75, good math. Now we'll hold to see if we do get that very bottom. Hopefully Intel can come in. Tilray is smoking right now. So that's a money bag kind of position for us as well on Tilray. And again, sometimes it's just trade what's moving, man, and ignore everything else. And we did that here today. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out for us with Intel, but AMD's been cash. Tilray's been cash, and that's all that I'm trading. Uber right now is a name that I'm going to look at when we get back from Brendan right now. Looks like it's happening now, and I don't think I want to see this segment, to be honest with you, but let's throw it over to Brendan because, there we go, what's up?
Yeah, negative, pretty negative right across the board. Some red numbers top to bottom here. The S&P 1.2 to the downside, the Russell as well, really under pressure. Same story for the NASDAQ. It is tech that is leading, 2.25% for both the composite and the 100 there. So you get the picture. It's one of those days on the back of yesterday as well. A few things we were talking about in the pre-market here. Twitter, another one down 2.2%. Tried to get back to the support that we saw late in the day yesterday, failing at this point anyways, back to the downside for Twitter. And then Save, Spirit, did test 27, which came into play late in the day yesterday as well. But another one rolling over, guys. It's a bit of a theme so far. Back over to you.
So there was a discussion this morning in the chat about lingo that we use all the time. So rolling over, that's when you have, it's pretty easy to see. If you have a support level, rolling over, breaking the shelf, rolling over, breaking the shelf, and then falling down. So that's what we mean. The market rolling over, and not a cliff because we're down 2%, not 5 or 7 or something like that. But yeah, here comes Micron. It's just starting to die, right? So these chip names starting to go. Look, I just love the level that Micron gave you with the break of this shelf. At this point, I think we're firmly headed down towards somewhere in this range. It gets a 69 to 71. 71, 72 area, so somewhere in that 70 range I think is going to be the ultimate out. That's what we're looking for on Micron. Twitter is also starting to roll over again. So each time, and this is a better trade to look at on the 3-minute chart. Each time it tries to take out this 560, you're seeing a reverse off that price. I'm kind of missing that curl as we're just holding on to it on the higher time frame, but everything's starting to really go here. Alibaba just broke the floor at 107, headed now down to that 106. Somewhere between 5 and 6 is where I want to get the next out, but the market is just churning now to the downside. So it's a matter of maintaining or sort of holding on to your shorts, getting a little bit greedy with them, and then seeing if you can't take bigger winners on. The only thing that's not going too crazy here, Mullen, it did make a reload off of the high of the day, that 270, but it's not really screaming to the downside. You're actually seeing it form a bit of an upward channel. So there is at least some concern that you could be forming a bit of and people use the term bull flag. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. If it breaks out the top, there's definitely room to run on Mullen. So this is a hard stop. If it takes out the high of the day, there's no getting cute about this. If it takes out the high, I'm not trying to hold through. I'm not trying to average into it. We're just going to have to get out of Mullen if it does do that. That and Twitter, I think, are the two stronger ones. And we'll go back to GameStop and AMC. I'm kind of looking for a place, if we're going to get one of those days where I guess memes and squeezes and low floats are the ones that go up and the rest of the market is going to end up being weak, then finding a way into the long position is going to make some sense here. Nothing terribly obvious. At this particular point, I'm kind of sitting, okay, well, it could be VWAP at 153. Could it be 151.5 where we've broken out from? The higher time frame, when you go to the 15-minute, really all I'm seeing is, okay, well, it's pretty solidly valid at 160 for a break, but that's $5 away. And I don't like chasing something like a GameStop or an AMC that far away. Like, we just broke off of 150. I don't like the idea of a long at 160. So it might have to be get back down into 151, or at least I know the base that we're trying to buy in front of, or there might not be a trade for myself in GameStop. And that goes the same for AMC. You don't have to force yourself into it. This is a little bit tighter. Like, it could still break like a 21 here, which it's tried to do a couple of times, and then go from there. So it's a bit safer than GameStop, I think, in that regard. Like, you're a little bit tighter to the vest if you're looking at a 21 break, but it's already failed at once. So I kind of want to see it trade above this level, hold 21, maybe take out those quarters, and then it would be preferred in the long to GameStop, just because it kind of hasn't gone yet. And the GameStop went. AMC hasn't really gone yet, so I think it's a bit safer if you're chasing this one. You're not chasing it as far, Miss V.
Hey guys, I hope you're all doing great and in a profitable territory. I know you're busy, so remind you to like this video, team. We have more than 6,000 people watching and 1,200 likes. It would be so great if you help us to get to 1,000 likes as soon as possible. Back to Neil.
There we go. Thank you guys very much for all of the support. And at this particular point, it's just like everything is starting to go to the downside. And when you're looking for that relative strength, I always sort of come back to what was strong this morning and what is giving you a possible chance at entry. So GoGo was added to the, if you're just joining now, added to the S&P 600. Last time we saw this, VIR had a pretty strong day. And GoGo up 12%, but it just pulled back almost a full dollar. If you look at where this broke out from, that 21.20 or so, if it can find a bit of a base and start to consolidate off there, I'd like to be able to try to catch a bounce on that trade. So GoGo is definitely on the radar. I'm not really going to anything terribly new outside of AMC and GameStop, and I think I'd prefer AMC if I had to choose one. Although I'm allowing these things to settle themselves down. I am still in Twitter. That was just asked. Hopefully the position board is correct. Yeah, I'm not in Save. So you know what? Maybe it's not correct. I covered Save in the pre-market, so I don't know why that's still showing that. I mean, that was the overnight position, and I started covering it before we turned the position board on, so that's probably has something to do with it. But I am still short Twitter. It cannot seem to get through this low of the day, but it's also not breaking my stop at 50.60. The market's going down. I've managed to scalp some off for profit, and it hasn't broken my stop. So there's nothing invalid about the trade, even if it is showing some signs of strength. The only thing I would change is now I like a reverse at 50.60, which I wasn't favoring before. Now it's showing signs of relative strength, so I don't mind the reversal. But everything else about it, I'm just going to continue to hold on to it because it is, it's still in the money a little bit. Not a lot, but it's still in the money.
Man, I can't get away with anything here. Shout out to Justin. I just had a conversation with him. Sorry, he was, Justin's doing well. He's here. I told him that Austin Matthews is the best Maple Leaf of all time. And then we discussed that a little bit. He didn't say anything to sway my mind. But then I came back here, and then this is what I'm saying. I can't get away with anything. Marissa, my wife, is like, hey, where are you? So it's like, oh God. So like now I can't, like if I'm never, like, you know what I mean? It's like now I'm always on watch here, but I love you. So
that's cool.
Thanks for checking up on me there, but I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm okay. But there we go. So, all right. Intel. Yes, sir. Let's go, man. While we were away, you don't get that money flying out there. But there comes Intel back in. We're getting ready to take some cash out of this one as we just bid this 57. We just bid the 58 right there. It does go down to 50, but we're thinking this cracks lower. I mean, look at this AMD trade. You want to talk about cash money right now, we're going to get unplugged from the EV names because we should have been on Rivian already. But look at AMD. That's a crazy reload all the way to the downside there. We were a little bit nervous about it holding yesterday's bottom, but those nerves went away real quick when 103 went to the downside. And now we're holding a nice $1.50 in the money. And not only that, it's a reload off of this. If you're still in the short with me from the beginning, and again, thank you for all the love on Twitter, and thank you for all the love on the chat as well. Yesterday I mentioned that if you were looking for a swing trade, and I don't do this often, I was saying, why not take the shot here with AMD? It's just so weak, and we probably have a Hyundai pin coming, and that's right where it's going right now, that Hyundai coming through on AMD. I'm going to hold this name until something changes. This market is absolutely dead today, so good job us getting out on Tilray, man. That one as high as 815. It's coming back in. I am not reloading this one. If we take down VWAP, we'll get out of the last little bit of that one as down goes Intel right now, down into the 40s. So that's a good trade for me, man. Our average price now on Intel 72. So yeah, the Rain Man in the building once again today.
Sean Kemp.
That's
the
right.
Rain Man. And absolute legend. The second half of his career wasn't that good. But hey, man, if you saw him when he was...
Well, Gary Payton and him.
You saw him when he was in his prime. Like,
NBA Jam.
Forget about Blake Griffin or some of those.
Blake Griffin.
Like that. Sean Kemp was legit, man. He was just...
I could jump over a car, Blake Griffin.
You know what's... Okay, this is going to sound crazy. I used to be able to do that. Jump over. It's a stupid thing to do, by the way, but it used to be able... Not the top.
Every
like
time I try it, like my wife is like, what are you doing? But then when I do it, she's like, okay.
Just don't car surf.
Yeah. Don't car surf. Shout out to our friends that like to do that for some reason. And we still act like our friends still do that, but we don't.
No.
The problem is we've been friends for 25 years, so that was
just
back
dumb,
in the
that
day.
Was just dumb high school.
But I'll tell you one thing. I bet you that guy would still car surf, believe it or not.
No.
I believe he would. Whatever.
No.
Get a couple pops. He'll have it.
Well,
Okay. So anyways, more talk about semis. Down with semis right now to the downside right now. Like I said, you want to talk about Eli Lilly? This was a name that I was buying. And I was like, you know what? Of course it's a New York name. What am I even doing? This was a name that I was really, really light into pharma and everything like that. And so we went over there. I did get out of some AbbVie at 148. That's killing me right now. But look at Eli Lilly. Like, we bought it in here, man, on these dips. Into 240, we're in our long-term accounts. When Eli Lilly dipped into these levels, man, and then all of a sudden, Joe Byron started talking about healthcare, and he even named Eli Lilly, if you remember, when I was talking about cancer on his State of the Union. I don't remember what day that was, but since then, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 red days in Eli Lilly since Feb 25th. So 6 red days since February 25th in Eli Lilly. We're cooking with gas there. And also, man, there goes Intel. Bye-bye. See you to the downside there. Man, I told you that we should have believed in this a little bit more, but we started licking wounds, and right now we're not doing that at all as AMD and Intel both cranking lower. AMD, by the way, on the reload is $2 in the money, $4 in the money from our initial spot. $3, in the money.
So remember AMC, that's starting to go again. So it's trying to take out that high. If it dips again to 21, I like to buy in front of that. I think someone was just asking what we like on AMC. You've gone too far in GameStop, at least I think it has. But if AMC gets through 22, look at how big that level could be. That was previous support. In the afternoon, that was resistance. I like that for a clean, like a breakout style trade. Otherwise, I want to play off of the even dollars in the 50s. Right now, that gives you 21. That gives you maybe a 21.50 in here, and then definitely a 22 break. And it's just to contrast it to GameStop, which, you're up 2% on AMC. Flip. GameStop has sort of already run off of this 150 and curled back up here. And it's not even, where are we? Like at 155? Like, you're waiting for it to get to 160 for the same equivalent breakout style trade on GameStop, which is going to have a bigger spread. Sometimes I do favor GameStop to trade. I just look at the spread. I look at how tight AMC is, and it's like there's easier levels to play off of that you can stay disciplined with right now that I see on AMC as opposed to GameStop. Like, trading off 21 to me is going to be easier than trading off 155 on GameStop.
That's so funny. Like, people saying, no, you can't jump over cars. I mean,
What?
Come on, man.
I was a long jumper in high school.
No, not you. I'm just saying, like, they're talking about both of us. Like, it's just like.
Oh, now? Hell no, not now. I'm
so
like,
funny,
dude,
like,
I'm over 40 years old.
like,
I couldn't do that stuff.
You are?
That was high school.
Okay, yeah, I'm. That's just funny.
Oh,
I just can't believe
university.
people are talking about that.
Really?
Okay.
care.
All right. Yeah. Sometimes just talking some jokes, but yeah, no, I really can do it. Okay. AMD trying to look. I was gonna say, you know what? This has been a great move to the downside here. I'm trying to hold on to it as much as I can. But, you know, this 102.70, we're not too far away from it. If we take this 102.70 down, then I think we could just get out, realize that profit, and then get back in if we do take down this 103 and change. But right now, we kind of are barcoding right now. And if the NASDAQ just keeps doing its dance here and making lower lows, then I don't see any reason to really get out of this. Nothing's changed, in my opinion. There we go. I guess Fed barking now. FOMC could certainly move 50 basis points if needed. I think we already knew that, but you know, again, not good talk coming from here. As long as that who barking is 9 to 10 hikes away. Nah, they're not. Honestly, they're not. They're not going to shock the system like this. Honestly, I'm a bull here. I think we fall a little bit more, but I think a lot of this talk is BS.
Dude, I don't think it's BS. I think what they're doing is they're setting it, like they set the market up to be. It's like we're going to tell you like the worst and like how bad it can get, so that you're prepared for what ends up happening, right? Like that's what Remember what happened the last time when they talked about the accelerating of everything? Like you were down for a couple of days, and then when they actually made the announcement, you ended up bouncing.
We had a huge bear rally.
Yeah, like I'm not saying we're running today at 2 o'clock because the Fed minutes, that's kind of hit or miss whether it actually ends up moving the market, but you're just getting that sell now, and it happened yesterday as well, because they've told you what the worst can possibly be. And so you take advantage of it by going for some of these trades. I'm watching Micron here. It's really starting to not curl, but consolidate off 71.5. It breaks down from here. I'm going to try getting out at 70 on another push. Baba's doing it. Yeah, my chart just froze on me, so I'll do this. It just crashed on me, I should say. But Baba starting to bounce, right? So I did not take anything out on Baba in front of 106 there on that 108 short. I still want to try to hold as the market is still trending to the downside, but you are seeing these nice bounces, and I don't want to let the profit get away here, guys.
Yeah, no, and we're doing the same thing right now. That was a good idea to hold on to Intel right there. Never be scared, guys, of what's coming, because you don't know what's about, you know, behind that door. And there's Intel, man, right now. Look at this. This is a funny one for me because short all the way up, and now it's falling back down. So we'll take a couple outs here, and we are still bidding. There it is. Like, wow, Intel right now. Man, that was a good trade on that short. Just not great execution, as we should have been able to hold a little bit more than we did for Intel, but down. Look at this move for Intel. Wow, can't believe that. We just got out of too much too early there. As AMD dancing around 102.15, I might get out of that one. The market could start to head back to the upside. What's up, B?
Some of the fertilizer names just popping up. Here's Mosaic, first of all. I guess it might have just been a technical thing there. 71.5, pretty big level, but huge volume alert there. 5.5% for MOS.
Yeah, I got some of these charts back, but now we got these crazy little wicks there. So we did just get the, AMC just broke as well, but Tellurian did make a move. I talked about this nat gas sort of pulling back in, and of course, like I stop out at this support level. There we go, that 585, and then Tell does the breakout trade. So it is again on the move to the upside. I think it just is the name that should be on everybody's radar, and it was the breakout not sitting in it that previously worked. Just watch out, alert here. I'm not in it, but if you are in it, like these levels here, like 625 to 640, then 650, and then up to 660. That's been all kinds of resistance on what has been a fantastic bull run for Tell. Just watch out. Like it couldn't get through those levels the last couple of days, despite having some strength.
So I just got out of another piece of Intel at 35. We did get a 31 or 2 bid there. Bless you. But we are on the bid now, as AMD probably comes out here when we break through 70, but I bid 30 right away. So I am trying to get out of AMD here as the market's starting to go back to the upside. So again, like, you know, just watch out. If you are short AMD, the market just bouncing right there. There goes Twitter. So new position alert for me. Twitter back into the upside now. We'll see. Can it take this out? Well, it just took it out for me, but it's struggling right now. We are long right here at the these pre-market highs of 50.60. This was the level that we wanted here for the long. So it does break upside now, but a little bit worried about it. This was a trade that we had in. We did want this trade, so there's no doubt about it. But we have to hold this now back, at least back into 50, into some of this consolidation right now. So let's get some upside moves. Take a piece out here on Twitter if we can get it up to 75 or so. Where did that just go, man? I'm offering 75. It went to 74. So hopefully we'll get that 75 bid now on Twitter. This is now the focus of my attention here. Come on, let's go. If we get a 75 there, we'll take a little piece out, and then hopefully we can rip back up to the upside. As passive investor no more, Elon Musk, come on, buddy, announce something, and let's go back up to the upside. Elon, now, we're your friend, guy, to the upside. Let's see what happens. AMD's trying to get out as well, but so far, these are the positions we have. 2 shorts, 2 longs.
Yeah, so Twitter, we got some profit out, so we'll still be up on it. But overall, it could not break that low like the rest of the shorts did. That turned it into a reverse. So it's at the same price. I mean, it's that 60 level that just broke. AMC is the other one, which is starting to make another move here. I'm going to tempt fate by still flipping these charts manually. It's now getting towards that 22. Up here, which is kind of hard to see, unfortunately. But 22 is that big level. If it pulls back to 50s, I do like a dip buy. But right now, it's screaming into a 22 break on AMC, looking pretty strong for now. Micron is also bounced. The market's really trying to make a bit of a bottom. Oh, goodness gracious. And the market's trying to make a bit of a bottom. At this point, 71.5 has been about as low as we've been able to get on Micron. If it takes that out, I think 70s is in play. But at this point, you are seeing some strength come into the market. And things tend to settle down on a Fed day. I just got to show you this chart. Things tend to settle down on a Fed day. So when it's working in the money, great. But a lot of times between like that opening rush, 2 through lunchtime, you can get some sideways action. So you don't want to rush out of trades, but there might be that chance to reload them and then start scalping the range to the short side, which might mean taking out in front of the low, getting back in at VWAP. That kind of a thing can be valid throughout lunch on a Fed minutes day. Brendan's at the big screen. Time for the small cap recap.
Do this.
Hey guys, busy morning once again. Let's talk MOBQ. Mentioned this one just before the open here. I was talking about 280 and 3. If you go to a daily chart, pretty obvious level there between 280 and 3. But it is a low float stock, so you have to be a little bit careful if it does get back above 3. Obviously, it doesn't even get tested. There was a little bit of an uptick there. Gave you an opportunity to add at the open. We're down to $2 for, or almost $2 for MOBQ. SBFM, very, very clear support. Midday yesterday around 525 comes down, gets tested off the open. Pretty easy trade long side for that one. ADN, I mentioned, popped up on a volume scanner there on News with Hyundai. 350 to 375 in that area. Monster level up here on the daily chart. So just taking a shot at this. Going to have to be a little bit patient, but ADN as well, a big mover, guys.
Hey, yeah, thanks. Lots of good updates there. Tilray's coming back in a little bit. So just an update. We did take some cash, so it's been a good trade for me today. Very positive on AMD, man. But it did come out there, so it did take out 70 there. But the thing is, I reloaded the short. The reason why this is not going to be for a long time, it's quite obvious that this momentum has changed a little bit here on AMD, right? It's straight up to the upside. It's bouncing off that 101.50. So, but the thing is that the NASDAQ also, and again, maybe you can... Maybe I'll try to zoom in a little bit more for you on the NASDAQ chart, but it resisted that move. It went upside and then stopped. So I wanted to get out of AMD in case this move continued, right? But once it did stop there and came back to the downside, then I was like, okay, where on AMD, there it is. Let's call this chart up so we can see the moves. There it is. Where on AMD is there an out? So we do have the 50 period there and we do have view up at 103.50. So I'm going to short this name, see if we can retrace back, but understanding that the NASDAQ right here breaks, then we are going to be out of this trade. So a break back above like 10, I figure that break happens when this break happens. So a break above 103 and we're going to get out of this one. But there goes Twitter, man. This is what we're waiting for. Here comes Twitter. One trade today for me and it's a banger as Twitter right now up to the upside right now, 20 cents in the money for you on Twitter. We're waiting at 90 there to get out. And of course it goes to 89, but that just means we'll get 90. So I'm trying to think a little more positive on this one. Twitter to the upside right now, trying to break higher. We're waiting at 50.90 for our next piece. So let's see if that can come out to the upside right now. My net right now is at the highest spot it's been at all day. So we're really happy with that. Intel's come back in. We have 0 losing stocks on the day here today. We're going to have to wait for Intel to go down a little bit more. We did take some out early, but Intel's a good trade for us as long as you've held it.
Yeah, and by the way, Oxy, I just canceled my bid on Occidental. Remember, we were looking for a dip buy on Oxy? Yeah, it came within like 30 or 40 cents, but it's now screaming. So there's no way. You got to clean up some orders. If that comes down at that point, there's just no way that I'm going to want it after it's dropped $2 into me. So we're going to cancel that one. AMC, on the other hand, pulled back, pulled back off 22. Doing that thing again, but now back into that 2150 range. So this is where the first level could consolidate. If it does and tries to break back up, I like that 21.5. If it continues to fall, I'll try defending it at 21 even. So I like some levels on the pullback and both GameStop and AMC. I just like the AMC levels a little bit better. My stop was at 50.60 all morning long on Twitter. The only thing that changed is when I couldn't take out the low, it became a reversal style trade. So I'll only reverse it a short if it holds support. If we had broken the low, maybe gone to 49s, continued lower, and then try to take out the top, I might be hesitant to go into the long side of the trade, but it showed enough relative strength. It's pretty much flat on the day that it becomes a reversal. I've taken nothing out until it gets to the actual pre-market high. I think that's just kind of, I like that pre-market top, but it was a bit of a wick there at 7 a.m. It's also right in front of yesterday's close, which is at 51, so I will take some out in front of it. The other two shorts, BABA and Micron, market trending down. If they're still valid, we're just going to hold on to them. I can't see too much of a reason to take those off at this particular point. Yeah, Oxy is still moving, and I get it. Like, it could continue that trend. Like, it could be one of those days where it goes absolutely nuts. What is that wick? Where it goes absolutely nuts, but you sort of missed the breakout. You did have all kinds of, I guess, chop at around 58, and there was a hard top at that 59 to 59.5 on Oxy the last couple of weeks. So I'm not sure I see it getting to $60 today. I think that would be asking a lot of it, but certainly if it can consolidate back here at 57, that would give an entry point on the way to at least 58, 59, which are more reasonable levels when I look at it here for it to possibly get to.
Alrighty. Yeah, look, I mean, we just took another piece out on Twitter. But here goes AMD. We're almost out of this one. A break right now. We're out as AMD takes out 103. There it is. But while you were gone, or while Neil was speaking there, we were able to get a 102.50 bid on AMD. So it lessened the blow here on that take. So AMD is still a positive name for us, but we were lucky enough to get that. And we did identify a trend change here on this name. So we're able to get out. Now we can sort of just say, okay, let's wait to see, because again, you could be wrong, and as long as it doesn't hurt you that much, you are fine. So we'll wait. I'm going to cancel everything, shift escape on the keyboard here for AMD. No more trades on this one. Let's see. Maybe it has reversed now off those bottoms. You can see what the NASDAQ is doing. I still don't mind the short, but it's just going to have to come in again. That's all. So I don't want to average up on this name. Talk about a name that we're not in yet and really should be. Didn't really get any spots, though. I mean, it would have been right here on that reload. We should have, not a reload, but on that bump back up there, 42 bucks on Rivian. Could have shorted that, probably should have. Obviously, when it's down to 40, that seems relatively obvious at that point. But back in there, it never really made it back up. Just so you know, I did have an offer at 42.70 at the time when this dipped down. We were trying to get short into here, but that never came through. Rivian right now taking down some of these lows. And honestly, I know I'm going to look back and be like we wrote down Rivian short 44. It just never got there. It came pretty damn close. We should have shorted it, but at the same time, I don't know if it's a short still. Like, this is a big move down, man. You had 10% yesterday. We're basically down from 55 down to 40 in a straight line. It's been 5 straight days of nothing but chaos for Rivian shareholders all the way to the downside, so that's not looking good. I talked about getting out of some Twitter there. We did again on that bump back up, so there's another out for us at 83. And again, didn't go to 51 because I'm offering 90s, so that never got filled. But here comes Twitter right now. It's not looking great for the long, especially if this market fades. But again, we are trying to average into this. If it does break back down through 50, we'll get out. So I do have some more bids downside here for Twitter, just in case. But for right now, we have emptied it out. It's a positive name for us, but it is coming back down. Don't tell me AMD. Look at AMD, man. We just got out on that 103 break, and there it is. I should have trusted the read on the NASDAQ, man. The NASDAQ failed there, and I should have just, that's too bad. AMD, we're out of that one, which would now be a 50-cent winner.
And the market still feels like it's relatively weak here, but I'm going to come to Square, if only because, probably got out of it too soon, but we had had a plan of action. We had a target. It hit the target. Now it's blown through. And watching 124, 125. So on the higher time frame, that's when we picked up the 135 level. It's been a good one. But 125, it's also $10 down, 125. So it's a bit psychological as well. And we're right here right now. If the market tries to bounce, down 8% block is, and getting even weaker. Actually, we just put this into the gates of hell, Alibaba, as it's trying to bounce off 106 here. So the second time through, if the market's going to bounce, I will take some out off 106. I'm still holding BABA and Micron to the south side because they've both essentially been working. If the market wants to continue down, I'm going to try to hold it for that move. But block at 125, if we can get any kind of a bounce off this level or even like sideways action, this could be worth it. It's already filled in the gap to that next consolidation point that it ran away from. If 125 can hold, obviously it would be pretty ugly for block. But yeah, I mean, that 8% crazy move, and the futures are consolidating here.
All right, I'm going to reload AMD if that comes back in. And we just saw Twitter. We're going to offer 80s right now. Twitter just bounced right back up here. So now we can try to offer 80s again if we can get it. We're long at 66, man. This looks like a scalper's dream today. We will try to, like we mentioned there, I know Neil's holding on for more. We will try to hold on to something for the upside, but I can't ignore this. We're in shares now. It keeps on topping out right now. I've canceled my higher offers now. So if it does rip, good on us, but there it is, man. Like, we just took it out at 50, at 80, and then there's the tank job happening for Twitter. So, hey, man, if we can reload this, let's reload it, man. There it is. There. So this is what we're doing, man, and this is what we're trying to keep on doing as, I don't have anything to hit, so we not do that. Right now, Twitter, there it is, right? In there, out, and then we'll reload it at that bottom, and guess what? If this comes back to 80, your boy's going to be sitting right there right now. I'm going to put it again, sitting right there to take another piece out. I just said this is a scalper's dream, so why not keep scalping this name out? I'll even take a 68 out, man, if we can get that. So there it is, back in at 60, and we'll see if we can get this back out again on Twitter. Many ways to skin a cat, as they say. If we can get a 68, man, we'll take that and then just keep reloading. Remember, I do have a target down here of 50.20 to get another reload and then get out eventually if we do take down 50. I still like Twitter going to the upside, so let's see if that does happen.
No actual cats were skinned in the making of this program.
No,
it's a figure of speech, but sometimes we use figures of speech that can't bounce. That people aren't familiar with.
Don't look at me.
Yeah, it's important though. Like you saw, as long as you guys get that, right? Like, it's just a figure of speech. Square block just bounced again off 125.25. I picked up 50s, so yeah, I could have held on to the short, but it's a level on the higher time frame. I'm just looking for things. And if you're trying to catch a bottom, it's not so much that, stock has fallen so far, we're just going to go long because it's a round number. It's filling in this gap. And if you look from when it made this last breakout of consolidation, like 125 is where the move really started from. I was shorting it only into this level, that 27.28, and now we're just going to try and catch the bounce. And the risk is, got 50s. If it breaks 125, we're out. If it can get back even just to shy of that 127, 128, I'll get out of it in front of that. So risk about 50 cents plus slippage, could be as much as 15 to 20 cents. So risk about 70, and then we're looking to get about, we'll take some out in front of $1, of course. I always like to get some out at 1-to-1, and then work it back to that 127, 128. If the futures bounce, great. We've got a long that has room to work here, in addition to Twitter. Whereas we're still holding on to the last of our two shorts there. Of course, that's Micron and Alibaba. Let's go back to AMC because we are looking for, this to get to that 21, which it looks like it's trying to now. For some reason, it's just AMC and a couple of these charts I'm missing data on. It did not start trading at 10 o'clock. I'm just missing data on it from earlier. But it is coming back down to that 21. That's the price we liked. So we're now going to try and round off at 21.
Oh, man, this is just like, man, do I have content for these guys after. Look what's happening right now on Twitter, man. We just reloaded 3 times. That's 3 times the profit here on Twitter, man. We reloaded this at 63 times, and now we got more shares than we thought as this is starting to go back up to the upside right now. And yeah, we just took some out at 51. So here we go. Bye-bye, Twitter. See you later, as that's going to the upside right now. Twitter rocking and rolling now. No stopping this name. Let's see how high we can go now. What's up to Elon Musk and everybody? Twitter now starting to make some moves. I like the stock. And right now, with our guest of the day, let's throw it back over to Brendan.
All right, guys. Yeah, Twitter back to positive territory on the day. Good to see. I was noting as well a lot of weakness in home builders and also home-related stocks. Home Depot, Lowe's, both under pressure today on higher interest rates. It's 10:30. That means we need to get a check on how things over in Europe are shaping up so far today. Etienne Monco is a senior analyst with MarketScreener.com. Here to tell us a little bit about not only today, but how the past couple of weeks have been over in the European markets.
Yeah, exactly. Well, to me, the rally of the past few weeks has come to an end in Europe, and the time has come to reduce our exposure to stock markets, actually, and even consider some short opportunities or hedging opportunities at least. And even if I sometimes feel like that too, it really bugs me when someone has no opinion about the market. So I will give you my opinion today. I think it's really the time to short and seek some targets like 444 or 434 on the Euro Stoxx 600, as you can see on the graph right now. I might be wrong, like everyone can be on the stock markets, but if so, I will be pleased to hear someone explaining me why the markets are still going up. Like if we take a step back, let's say 10 days ago, it was already really difficult to explain to anyone why the market were rising. But among the flurry of news about the Ukraine war, it is true that there were some positive elements that investors digested straight away. So markets were climbing a little bit, a few percent at every news. For example, if people learned about meeting plan between Zelensky and Putin, the market took plus 2%. And when the Russian army left Kiev, the market took plus X%, and so on. If you look at the past, you will find out, strangely, that stocks rise after the start of a conflict. This was the case for the Vietnam War, it was the case for the Gulf War, it was the case for the Iraq War, and people, they study the past, it really matters to them, and they draw conclusions according to the past. So if markets go up during a war, they will buy stocks. But let's be realistic, 2 years in a row, commodities went up more than 40%. Inflation is really persistent, and even central bankers admitted that they were late on rising interest rates. And the real estate market is actually in a bubble, clearly in a bubble, in the US, but not only in the US, in Europe as well, like in France and in Germany. And now we can witness that the US bond market, which is kind of driving the whole world economy, is going nuts. And it is really kind of scary. Already in the fourth quarter of 2021, I don't know if you remember, but markets were not forgiving when it came to corporate results. If the surprise rate of the earning per share of a company was positive, the stock was rising on average of 0.2%. But when this surprise rate was negative, the stock was falling from 2.6%. The difference is huge. And why am I talking about corporate results? Because the next season is coming right now with the first quarter of 2022. And the impact with the impact of energy prices, with the impact of the war on energy prices, I'm sure it's going to rain earnings revisions on the next few weeks. So even if the timing is not perfect, even if the markets continue to rise a little bit during the next few days and prove me wrong, I really think that we should definitely avoid being 100% invested or 100% long on the market at the moment.
Yeah, interesting levels, interesting spot for not only North American markets, but over in Europe as well. Etienne Monco is a senior analyst with MarketScreener.com. We appreciate the info as always.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great one. There we go, guys. Trying, anyways, to hold some levels here for North America as well.
Well, it's starting to go to the upside. We'll keep hitting this one because they may not have won, but like the offense, like you were talking about the Leafs earlier. Yep. They can score on anybody. But the problem is, you know, they say defense wins championships. Playoff hockey, like everything else in the playoffs,
we got to win some playoff games.
So I'd like to see us do something in the playoffs first. But they're a great team. It's gonna be fun to watch them. Twitter just made another leg to 51.5. Like, look, that 50-60, once it held that low, things that hold the low when the market is dying like that turn into strength. So I did reverse as well. If you can't beat them, you've got to be able to join them. It's getting towards that 52, which was a lower high from the pre-market. I would be all out if we got to 52. Square block with that bounce as well. off of 125. I took some out 126.7, so we grabbed the $1.20 there. That's a little better than 1-to-1, but that's where resistance was on the way back the first time it bounced. If we can get to 127.5, that's that level from the 15-minute chart. We'd be all out of block. So those longs working. AMC still flat, bouncing off of 21, but it's also trying to go. It's a market. It's making an attempt to reverse. Ms. V?
Hey guys, I have a great news. We're just 10,000 subscribers away from becoming 300,000 subs community. So if you're not a subscriber yet, please make sure you smash the subscribe button right now. And also guys, we have a super chat from Dominic Famolaro asking you to take a look at MF. Miss Fresh, a Chinese company, is up more than 30% on the day.
Shout out to Dominic, shout out to the Packers, shout out to AMD, shout out to everybody here today. And, you know, like Rick Astley, I ain't never going to give you up, AMD. I'm never going to let you down because right now, AMD to the downside as it continues to go here.
I can start singing it if you want.
Yeah, no, please don't. My kid this morning, 10 years old, Rick rolled me today. So
got you?
Well, you know why? Because on his Discord, he was like, "Oh, Dad, check out my new Discord. I made a new banner."
That's not fair.
And it was Rick Astley singing the song. And anyways,
so yeah. Because you're not going to check out your kids' thing. Like,
yeah. I'm going to. Good move. But I'm coming for you. So that's going to be a good one there. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Spoken like a dad. Oh, that's you. Hey, my wife. What's up? Yeah, she could verify that for sure. Maybe clip that, Marisa, if you can, and then we'll show that to him. That'd be pretty funny. Okay, so we're never going to give you up, AMD, but we are also never going to give up Twitter. As right now, man, let's fire off the good idea because we were very, very patient. I know Neil went back and forth with this one as well, but there it is, man. We waited for that pre-market break, and not only that, like I told you, it was scalper's dream. It looks like it's holder's dream right now as we got in and out, in again and out again and in again and out. So that's the thing, like, you know, there's many ways, we talked about this before, to trade, and it's like now when this goes, obviously you wish you never got any out here, but all of these reloads really gave me 3 times the opportunity. So now we're going right back upside now, and now we can hold this. I don't have any targets, and like I said, never going to give you up on that one. AMD gave us a great reload right there at 103. So we took that, man. We actually took it twice there. And then we actually had too many shares, so we got out, but now it just fell back in. So all of these purples are shorts in AMD. That's just how we're doing that one. Tilray did not get the reload, although, like, I'm at 53, like, I guess I got to go to 55, whatever. Let's just put that bid to 55. We tried to get the reload there on, Tilray's a NASDAQ name. We tried to get the reload there. Now we'll just, oh man, it's too high up right now. We'll put it at 55 now instead of 53. But we missed that reload. That would have been just about as good as it can get there on the reload. We were holding a small piece up to that high side, like we talked about. The minute it gets to $8, we emptied out our pockets on Tilray, but that's a good trade for us. And then, unfortunately, we did not either reload Intel up here because remember, AMD was screaming, man. And so we started to get out of some of our Intel, but that bottom of 27 was also the bottom that was made in the pre-market there. So we will have to respect that a little bit. If Intel comes back up here to 50, then we'll put on another short. But we're at the highest spot, like I said, we've been at all day here. So I'm pretty happy with trading so far, guys.
And I finally have a chart that's working on AMC. It's my 15-minute chart, so we'll celebrate that one. But it closed yesterday at 21.22, so the bounce off 21, we're looking for the dip buy there, as it couldn't break the 22 break. So when you don't get the breakout trade and you like the long, well, the only thing left is buying the dip, right? Like, it's not like it's one or the other at that point. So the dip isn't at 21. I'll take some out in front of 50s, and then I'll get all out in front of 22. And if 22 is a break, well, I think it could be a re-entry point for a breakout trade. Well, then the dip buy, we can just take it off in front of that, and then maybe rinse and repeat the dip buy. So we got 2 separate ideas for AMC, the first of which we're now looking to get about 15 to 20 cents on the way to 30.50, maybe like 30 as well. But time to go to Brendan. It is 10:40 already, so let's get sector watch. There are patches of green on that board.
Yeah, a few notable names, guys, to point out here as far as strength is concerned. Overall, we are down 1.25%, all thanks to tech and consumer discretionary. I'll talk about that in a second, but I wanted to point this out first. Energy stocks still showing a lot of strength. That's Oxy, 4.5% to the upside. VLO, HES, Stifle with the initiation if you missed it on Oxy. At a buy, Mosaic and CF over here in the corner as well. Both up about 5.25% to the upside. Some strength in resource names once again. Those are the only two, really. The rest of this group, unfortunately, to the downside. Netflix, Discovery, Discovery A, Facebook, all in negative territory as well for the communications group. So those are dragging, but it is tech and consumer discretionary names that are leading. Here's all the cruise lines and some of the hotels. So we mentioned there was strength in that area yesterday, over the past couple of days, in fact. So coming off once again, some retail weakness as well and apparel weakness. So Under Armour, Nike, both 3.5% back to the downside. Industrials under pressure, led by the airlines here. AAL, UAL, Love, and Dow, all 3+% in the red, guys. So yeah, there are a few areas of note, but still pretty red day. 1.25% for the S&P. Back over to you.
What's it now, though?
That Oxy is going to. I completely forgot about it. And next time, like, if you guys could send something. No, I'm just joking in the chat. But look at this, guys. Right here on this sticky note. Let's read this together. Bottom of 55 for Oxy. Let's take the 57.50 break long on Oxy. Tweeted out this morning at 8:25 or whatever time was. Look where Oxy is now. There's that 57.50 break. Boom to the upside. It goes $1 and now retraces in. So we definitely missed that 57.50 break. And it was nothing to do with the pre-market, nothing to do with anything. We actually did a little bit more work, and we doesn't look good on the 20-minute here. But right into here was 57.50. We talked about that and why we liked it. Good break there for Oxy, 57.50. Wow. And then, like we said, some Rick Astley moments happening on Twitter right now. We're not going to give this one up as it's starting to go all the way to the upside here. Tick, tick, tick. Our first out, sure, man. We got out there at 51.20 all day on that trade. Now we're going to the upside. $1, like multiple dollar winners today, man. AMD's been a monster one. Intel, Twitter, Tilray, all monsters. And again, guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. It's been a big one, and we're getting ready to reload. As right now, AMD, good thing we got out of the majority of this. We're going to have to see what we're going to do with this one. I don't know if it's a reload spot or not yet, as the futures have broke higher here. So AMD definitely testing VWAP there. Maybe that's going to be our out as we just retraced off of it.
Yeah, the things that are weak, I think, take profit on for the long side of the trade. The things that, obviously, if you've got a short in the money, we're still in the bottom end of the channel in the futures. We can quickly show here. Like, we're at the lows. I know we're bouncing a little bit here, and it's giving you some good opportunities. We just got back to that 127.5 on Square, so it breaks down. It gets through our support level. That's where we took the short off. It gets right into that 125. The bounce 25 into that previous support, 127.5. So that one's in and out. Twitter's a different story because it showed that relative strength. But AMC just started to go, and like goodness, like where is that key? Like, I always want to find the right one because I don't trade it very, very often. I trade GameStop probably more often than I'll trade AMC. But that one looked a little bit better as to where we could buy the dip at 21s or in front of 21s. We just said we'd take some out in front of 21.5 and then all of it out in front of 22 and then look for a 22 break later on in the session. Remember when we said that on a Fed minutes day, like you might see the market slow down a bit or go a bit sideways? There's a bit of a caveat for that. Like you might still get movement in the names that have been in play already, like meme names, or maybe Twitter will continue to move. I'm really just talking about the things that will follow the overall market. So that'll be like your Apples might slow down, like maybe even Square starts to slow down a little bit here. But I think we can get movement on your AMCs and your GameStops throughout lunchtime, regardless of what happens. So I still look for that 22 break. I don't love breakouts in the middle of the day, but if there's something that can make that type of a move and sustain it, I feel like that's going to be the type of vehicle that can make it work here. So I'll get it all out in front of 22 and then look for a 22 break still on AMC. Twitter, it's at 52 right now. And look, I was kind of pointing to this higher low that it had, lower high that it had in the afternoon, and said to myself, this is where I want to be getting it out. It was a reversal, clean reversal, because it could not break down from this channel. But then I look at that next level up, and I want to get out in front of 52. Maybe it goes more than this, but I'm going to take it all off in front of 52.
Oh, man, I didn't even realize Intel was back up here. So we're going to have to wait for some 57.50s.
Oh, that's not that hot.
No, it's not that high at all. I was just looking at, just so an update here. So we got out of half of what we had left of our AMD for exactly flat right there at 95. So now we'll wait. I'm going to get this out if it breaks through 103.20 right there. That's the VWAP, and then we'll reassess as the market might be going back up to the upside. We talked about wanting Facebook if this market ever turned around. Facebook, I mean, that was a nice bottom at 222.50 there. I can't take this long now because, again, if the market reverses, there's just not enough upside in this name, I don't feel like, just because it's so weak today for me to take this long at these levels. If we did come back into here, 223, then I like Facebook for a long. Let's check out if Softy is sort of looking a little bit better for the long here. Microsoft 302 is a good level. Yeah, okay, this is looking a little bit better because we have that bottom here of 301 and change. Yeah, this market's starting to go. Let's go Microsoft right now. As Tilray, man, Tilray's starting to, there, Microsoft bun, like, next time I'm going to get long and then say I'm getting long. But here we go, Microsoft. We are back into, not back, we are now, new position alert. So it's not fruit salad, but we'll treat Microsoft like it's fruit salad here. Nice little move to the upside right now, already in the money. Let's see, we'll take a piece out if we get to 50 for sure here on Softy. And there it goes, man. We just bought Microsoft at 19s. It's now at 50 right now. We just bought it at 19s and it just went to 50. So let's take a piece out if we can get it. Then if Microsoft comes back in, man, we'll reload it again. But hey, we're not. Bang right there. What's up, man? Trading Nation is in the building one more time. There's a quick little win right there for Softy as the hot dogs go flying everywhere. There's 30 cents, about as easy as you can make it. So there it goes. In, out. Now we'll hold. I like the reload. I think we might have picked a good name here. If we can get this back down in, anywhere down in here, 50s, 60s, 70s on Microsoft, we'll take it. But hey, man, this party is just getting started. Tilray back up to the upside. Big trade for me. Intel, good trade for me. 30 cents of the money. Yeah, this has been a big day, man, but hey, it's just another day that ends in Y.
Yeah. Last I checked, there aren't any that don't end in Y.
I can't keep saying every day is a big day, but I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, so today's a big day.
I'm going to come back, and when the market starts coming up like this, I want to see something that's sort of outpacing the bounce. So Micron has been in the money all morning long, but the bounce is nowhere near to getting back to the highs in the futures, but you are almost all the way at the top on something like a Micron. So there is some strength coming into a few of these names that are of a little bit more concerned than others. However, on the other end of that coin, what you always want to observe is like block. This is what you mean by relative weakness. The market bouncing a little bit, block bouncing a little bit. So this is a name, man. If it doesn't hold 125, like it's holding the bottom end of this channel, sometimes it's difficult to say you short something when it's really, really low. But it's showing way more weakness in the overall than the overall market, and I can't discount that. I do want to at least mention Tesla because I don't think either one of us really looked at Tesla today, but in fairness, it did make a break of this 1065 support and came right to, and sometimes we look at these gap fills, that's a 1040 top and it bounces off a 1040. So it is respecting some of these previous levels, which would mean on the way back up, presuming that we are trying to go up here in the market, it comes back to this 1060 to 1065 area, and that could turn from support back into resistance to that downside. So I'm watching it pretty closely. I got all out of Twitter, and you're seeing it get to that 52. And now have a little bit of trouble. So let's go to the lower time frame. Now have a little bit of trouble. It's starting to curl. It's broken twice. It's gone to 52.05. When something goes parabolic like that and heads into a level, when I see it do the failed break, I was like that scalp trade. Like before, that's not really, you're looking for a reversal into the big level trying to capture $1.50. But if it can't take it, well, not valid anymore. I was about to say, if it can't take out 52.05 the second time through, then it's a short, which just came back down. To the current high of the day. Right now, that actually stands at 52.10. So this is now the third time it's done it, but a couple of failures at that price. Each time, the stop always goes to the high of the day. So I am now into Twitter. I want to make sure it was below 51. I always want to get it after it's gone back through that price and give it to the high. It's now 52.09, so the stop would go to 52.10 because I like round numbers better, and then see if it does a little retracement for the scalp short. Wow, 1050. Let's see what's going on in the world of currencies and crypto with Money Talks and Brennan.
I got you have two big moves to pass along your way as well in the currency markets today. We'll start up here with the dollar. Obviously, the big event for the U.S. dollar going to happen this afternoon with the Fed minutes, so we will get some movement for the DXY around that event this afternoon. So just be aware. Very quiet otherwise heading into that today for most of these. Australian dollar, New Zealand, both pretty weak, 0.6 and 0.3 back to the downside after a pretty positive week for both of those. I threw the Russian ruble up on the chart over there. That's a daily chart. So we are officially back above pre-invasion levels here for the Russian ruble. What a move it's been off the lows. Another 4%, guys, for that one today. Back over to you.
All right, Russian ruble time. What just happened there? What did we just get in and out of there? Oh, Microsoft. What? We sold Microsoft? No, that was a mistake. Okay, so that order shouldn't have triggered there, but darn it. Okay, we got out of Microsoft there. That was strange. I'm gonna have to clean up some of my orders. Did not mean to get out. That was probably meant to have been a reload there. But let's let Microsoft fall down a little bit here. We did get out of that name, and then the whole idea was I was setting it up to trade, and I must have forgot about that. I'm trying to get longer down here on Softy just to see what happens near this 301.20 area. So, if it comes in, we will take some in the 50s now. But see, now we've broken lower, and I don't know, maybe the NASDAQ wants to take this lower here. What is AMD doing? Nothing. So AMD's still upside there. I feel like Microsoft is fine. If we did get something in the 50s, like where we wanted it, then that's all good. So let's try that, and then we'll try another bottom pick here. And if we take down 301, then we're gone. We could obviously make mistakes on Microsoft, but I feel like it's long. We have that bottom, that's 298. Obviously, if we get anywhere near 300 flat, we'll look at that a little more seriously. But man, I should have probably reloaded that long. But right now into this area, 301 is sort of what we're looking at. It's also the low of the day there on Softy. I know Neil's trading Twitter. My Twitter, I'm not getting out of this name until 53. So like I said, we're going to Rick roll ourselves on this one and see about a 53 out here on Twitter. So that's going to be my spot to look at. We have one in on Twitter. Well, one level, but multiple ins there. And it's still working to the high side, 52.20 right now for TWR. And then Intel, we should have reloaded it, but we didn't because it didn't get to 50. So yeah, all good right now. Twitter $1.50 in the money. Tilray, oh, that was the other update here before we let you guys go soon enough. Anyways, is if Tilray breaks 75, then we'll get out and see about reloading and get on the bottom. But wow, what a big successful day today. And I hope you guys are enjoying the show.
Yeah, and Twitter, I've tried it twice now off of these highs of the day, 52 even. It did run the stops twice, but each time it's going to be tight stops. Very, very different trade from a breakout that you're giving room. Like, that is a pure scalp. If it doesn't work right away, I pretty much don't want to be sitting in it. Like, each time it tries to make this curl, I want to be in case we get that nice little flush, but I don't want to just sit there assuming it's going to work and then average into it to like 52.50. Like, each time I'm getting out at that high of the day. It looks like it's going to make a bigger curl to the upside at this point, or break to the upside, I should say. And from there, 53 is the only level. 52 was the first level. 53 would be the second one that Sean mentioned. So it's not averaging into it all the way up to 53. If it doesn't work there, then you're waiting. Then I'm waiting until 53. I shouldn't say then we're. Like, it's just, I'm telling you what I'm going to be doing here. 52 did not work. 53 is the next level to the upside on that name. Just coming back over to, Tesla's starting to fall back in. But AMC is also bouncing into the downside. And we only got half of it out, looking for the rest in front of 2022. And you can see us sitting on the offer. Oh, goodness, that chart. It was working. The 15 minutes also is going to work. So there we go. Now it's pulling right back into 21. This is where we closed yesterday. If it gives this up, I don't want to be holding it all the way to the low. Like, this is a bounce off of 21. If we can't get to 22, then we'll take the move to 21.5, and we'll just stop out when 21 goes. No need to get stubborn about it. If it can't sustain the breakout, even through, like, just the first level of resistance yesterday in the afternoon, not even talking about up to 23 or 24, then maybe it's not strong enough. So I'm not getting stubborn with AMC here. No reload for me.
Twitter, guys, face slapper. And again, big time movement. I know Neil just talked about it. Maybe this is enough now. Up to 52.70, 60, sorry, right there. We called 52.90. At this point, guys, we're $2 in the money. This might be a good opportunity to take some out here at 52.50 with a big monster trade for me on Twitter off of an easy level of 50.60, man. We talked about that in the pre-market. So I'm debating right now just cashing this out on Twitter. It's been a nice move upside And but maybe we get to where we need to. So I don't know. Maybe we'll hold. Let's hold it. But I am looking at that for a possible out there on Twitter. So if you guys are looking at this name and thinking the same thing, okay. Just as I was looking at something else there, and we just touched 80 there. All right, Twitter. You know what? Enough is enough. I'll tap out on this one, man. This is a monster trade for me here on Twitter. And if we can get out anywhere now, 67. Let's just offer 67 and get out if we can on Twitter, and then just celebrate that. We just put an offer there. Now upside 63, 64. I mean, what's really the difference at this point of getting out? Oh yeah, the difference would be 7 cents. Come on, let's go. If we can get this out at 67 there, we'll rip to the upside as Twitter just keeps on working for us, man. We talked about this one and we held it, so we got those, you know what, on today, and it's working out for us real well. So shout out to all you Twitter holders there. Big day today. Let's just take this out. Forget it. I just punched it out. Bang, right there for a nice little $2 winner there. So the Turkish Delight is right there for you. Nice little win here on Twitter. Big time for me today, man. Couldn't be happier with today's trade, and I put that in the chat. Thank you so much, Dr. Strange. Another phenomenal morning. I mean, honestly, I'm super happy, and sometimes it's just humbling. Like, I don't hate it. I love bringing you guys the winners, but honestly, like, yesterday was one of my biggest days. Today, obviously, you're seeing the trading happening right in front of you. So we're really on one, and we've been like that now for 5 years. So it's been a good one. Welcome to the jungle. We have fun in games.
Anyone get that one? You guys know that. Come on, it's not just,
that.
It's not just hip hop, right? It's not just hip hop.
They got that.
Prad doesn't know that one though.
No. He might know it. He may know it. What's up,
Of course he doesn't know that. What?
Ooh.
No, Miss V.
Hey guys, thank you for trading with us this morning. We need just 200 more likes to get to 2K, so it would be really nice of you to smash the like button. I can hear Prad screaming over there, so join Market Movers to find out if he knows about that song. And happy National Carbonara Day.
Carbonara? Okay. I mean, I'm down with some carbonara. You got some little bacon in there. I like when you throw down some scallops in the carbonara as well. So I am down. I don't know if there's scallions on there. I don't know what's on there, but it's probably pancetta. Pancetta is very popular in there. Shout out to my Italian homies as well. Twitter, by the way, good out on that one.
I couldn't tell what was on there. Look, I like carbonara. I just can't tell what's in there. Bacon is always a go-to.
Yep.
I much prefer. I love scallops, by the way. That is absolutely perfect. If you that's the blend. I'm actually the mouth is actually even watering thinking about it. We only have 2 minutes to go. The last thing I'll tell you is that TKAT is on the move. So you are seeing another press to the upside here. This could not get through 4 to 425 yesterday. So if you look at that high from yesterday's action, this is my 15-minute chart. And it was also a head and shoulders. Yeah. So this is 4 to 420 the first time for the short. I didn't short it yesterday at that price, but we get to 4 to 425. That is definitely a level that I want to take to the short side. It's worked twice in the last couple of days here. If it breaks through, you can see clear room to $5. I'm not going to make a bet with Prad that I know I'm going to win, because obviously, with anybody, it's just I know he's not going to know the song. We'll educate him. I love Prad, and he's always willing to learn good music. But welcome to the jungle is a good one. 53 starting to come in here. Oh my goodness, it got to.
Did it get to 53? Oh no,
52.87. But it was just above 75, and then they pulled the rug into 50. So that was the next level to the upside. I wasn't quite fast enough as I was going over TKAT there. That kind of sucks.
Yeah. Your boy was pretty fast right there to get out at 52.60 there. What a good out that was, man. And yeah, that's all good on that one. And then here comes Microsoft right now as well, as we don't have to worry too much about Twitter. Microsoft, nice long. Wow, we got that long down there at 55. So if we can get this out in the 80s, I think that'll be wise to do that. So I didn't even realize it here. Nice little move upside for Softy. We can get something out. We'll put some offers here into the 80s for Microsoft. Take another 30 cents. And like I said, man, I said welcome to the jungle. Like, this is not going to stop. As long as these markets are open, I'm going to be sitting here, and let's just have some fun with these trades. It's been a wild day today, and I don't think that's going to stop. And there's another out for us on Softy. So let's just keep on trading. Like I said, we're at the highest spot. We're going to get ready to throw you over to Prad. It's been an awesome show, man, and show some love to our friend Trader Prad and Miss V on our midday show. It's going to be a big one, man. Ask all the questions you need. We're ready to rock and roll with that.
100%, guys. And like with that, it is 11 o'clock. Remember, we got the Fed minutes coming out. It's not like a rate decision. It's just the minutes, but they can be a bit of a market mover, just a bit of a delay. Usually at 2 o'clock, it'll come out, then you have to digest it. We'll be back at 2 for all of it, but for now, you are going to Trader Pratt and Miss V. Go get them.
Welcome to Wednesday, April 6th. It's time for Market Movers with the beautiful Miss V and Trader Prad.
Thank you, Prad, and indeed, welcome, guys. I hope you're having a great day. Please be active on the chat, ask us anything, and we would really appreciate if you like this video. What are you trading today, Prad?
I was just watching Twitter, so obviously Twitter went crazy. Congratulations to Sean on that crazy long. I got into a tiny short on the first turn up, so Twitter went up to around, I believe the highs was 70, so I got in short around 60s. I gave it to the break of 70s, obviously got stopped on the break of 70.